Hello, everybody, and welcome. STARJUMP Shipyard. We're coming at you on a Friday night, which is unusual. It's a bit unusual, but that's okay. It's Defensecon. We knew we were going to have extra coverage during Defensecon. For those of you who are already in chat, you are the early birds. Appreciate you showing up and hanging out with us tonight. We do got special guests. Got special guests tonight, which is going to be awesome. We got Fastcar with us from the Soul Citizens. Fastcar, how are you, buddy?
I'm well, thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm proud and honored to be on the last show of Late Night with StarJump Graham. I'm so happy.
I thought you were about to say the last STARJUMP Grim show, and I was like, man, he knows something I don't know. But I get it.
I'm taking over.
I see a lot of great people in chat again. Thanks, everyone, for popping in. VMXEO, New Soul. Again, nice to see everybody. We also got Art with us tonight. Art, you've been away for a bit. I had to replace you for a short bit. I had to replace you
with an Australian. So
I did. Yeah.
I'll take that for what it's worth. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
You're here.
Glad to be back.
You're here now.
I am. With my Polaris mug.
With your Polaris mug. I got my Kraken Captain mug right here.
I just have a plain water thing over here, but
yeah, you just have a plain one. That's okay. We're gonna get you some STARJUMP merch though for sure. Citizen Joel says, "R.I.P. Star." There you go. Citizen Joel says, "R.I.P. STARJUMP Graham, long live STARJUMP Artorias." Ooh, that's cold. That is cold blooded. Real quick, everyone, we do have a couple of top of show announcements to go through. Yes, Griffin Gaming RPG should be joining us later. If he does, we'll pop over to the old 4-panel view and we'll have him on camera as well. But he may be a little late, so just stay tuned for Griff. Obviously, we do got some of our top of show stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into that. Of course, if you are here for the drops, if that's what you care about, we are doing the Twitch drops on the Twitch side of things. So yes, you're counting if you're here watching. So stay for the whole show. We are, of course, doing a giveaway tonight. It's going to be a Red Line patch bundle giveaway. Here's the thing, though. We're doing the giveaways a little different. Tonight is going to be a test. Okay,
trial by fire.
We're doing a test of a new giveaway system. It may not function. We're going to try it. The cool thing is it ends in 100 minutes from now, so about an hour and 40 minutes. And all you got to do is exclamation ticket. Not exclamation ticket space max or anything. If you're over on YouTube, you can do exclamation ticket as well. Okay, little different.
I have a quick question. Quick question. Is the test in pre-alpha, alpha, or beta?
It's a pre-alpha beta of the alpha, so it's very early.
Got it. Okay.
But yes, all you got to do is exclamation ticket. It will pick you up. I'm using a third-party system that can pull from both. It does not tie into stream elements, though, so it's not using like channel points or anything. I just want to try this system to see how it works, okay? So you can be on YouTube, you can be on Twitch, exclamation ticket, and you are entered. You won't get a a thing popping up saying you got your ticket, but it's being registered, okay? I can even show you. I can make sure it doesn't have any bad information. Yep. So I can bring this over. This is the program we're using. Mix it up here. So yes, you're all getting registered. You see both YouTube and Twitch names in here. So again, exclamation ticket.
One ticket.
Yes, just one ticket. Nice and easy. We're just going to test this out. Doesn't mean we're not going to do giveaways the way we've done them before. It just is something I'm trying. If you're on both YouTube and Twitch, you can use both. You get in twice. You get 2 tickets that way. That's the hack.
By the way, if you get thrown off the train, it'll be because Indiana Jones said no ticket.
Yes. Yeah.
40-year-old reference thrown in again.
Yeah. And this ends in 91 minutes. I have to put a timer on it. I can't just tell it to end manually. I may want to write them and actually have to see if they'll add that feature. But it's on a timer, so in 90 minutes it's going to end regardless. I'll keep an eye on it though. But that is for a Red Line patch bundle. Comes with the Buccaneer paint, the really cool, what is it? It's the Gallant rifle, and then awesome Drake Tailwind flight suit, the best of them all. There's a lot of Tailwind suits in the game. You can get them through blueprints and loot boxes and all this. But why do all that when the best one is right here in this patch bundle? It's the Drake one. Let's not argue about it, okay? Even Fast Card agrees. I can see from that look he agrees with that. He's a Drake fanboy. He is a Drake fanboy.
I'm trying to be diplomatic here.
Of course, we have our May raffles for St. Jude Play Live. We are doing St. Jude Play Live this year, just like we did last year, and it is going incredibly well. Thanks to you all in chat for showing up, donating, all that kind of good stuff. So far this year, $54,749.93 has been raised for the month of April and May for St. Jude, for sick kids and their families. So greatly appreciate that, everyone. That is incredible. That's double what was raised last year, which is just absolutely blew my mind. We're at a STARJUMP lifetime raised of $95,307.93. Okay. That's incredible, everyone. Give yourselves an 07. Dad Bard, obviously doing a lot of that raising in the early years as well. Still part of it this year, raising money as well. Yeah, it's just been incredibly successful over the probably 4 or 5 years that it's been going. So yes, if you're in chat and if you've been part of this journey with us, not even just donating, but just being here for the shows, having a good time and stuff, give yourselves a giant 07. Again, doing really good work for these kids, okay? So it's awesome stuff. Now, don't forget, we got a bunch of raffles here. These raffles have been offered up by GearCon, all these raffle ship prizes, so give him an 07 as well. We did the Tibberon and the Aurora Mark 1 Series Pack drawings last Wednesday, so those have been done. You see there May 20th. However, the next raffle will be on May 27th, so next Wednesday, and that will be for an Ironclad Assault. All you got to do is go to the St. Jude Tiltify link or scan our QR code on screen there, and I can pop that St. Jude link in now. We may have to manually post that in YouTube art. But for a $35 donation, you can click on the Ironclad Assault raffle and get a ticket for that. On May 31st, last day of Play Live, we're going out big. We're going out strong. We got 3 raffles ending. The Ironclad Dual Pack, it's a $75 raffle or donation to get a ticket in for that one. There's a $60 donation. You can get a ticket for a Polaris raffle, and a $100 donation to St. Jude via our Tiltify link or QR code. You can select the Masters of Industry raffle, which contains, if you win the Masters of Industry raffle, you will get a Pioneer, an Arastra, a Hull B, a Golem, a Vulture, a Mole, a Reclaimer, and a C2 Hercules. The winner will get...
That's a lot of ships.
That's a lot of ships. That's a lot of ships, including a Hull Limited Pioneer. That's a big one. I like to tell you all the odds. Your odds are very good. If you get a Polaris ticket, you have like a 1 in 25 chance of winning because there have only been like 25 tickets sold. The Ironclad Dual Pack, I'm not sure. It might be 40 or so. The Masters of Industry, I do know is like something like 160, something like that. Either way, your odds are pretty good. It's not like thousands of entries exists.
I bet it's better. You have better odds at that than getting the Odin.
That may be very much that may be right. Yes, absolutely. I mean, again, that's one of the things I try to point out to people is that your odds for these raffles are pretty good. Even our highest raffles we've done have only ever had like 180 tickets purchased. So even if you bought one ticket, you get like $180 or sorry, 180%, 1 in 180 chance of winning. If I can talk tonight. Focus, thank you for that $35 donation. It's going to be a good night, everyone. So those are our St. Jude raffles. We went over the monthly patch bundle. Again, if you want to get in on that giveaway, it's just exclamation ticket. That's all you got to do. Not exclamation ticket space max or anything like that. It's exclamation ticket, nice and easy. And then, yes, the Twitch drops are active. Okay. That's all the top of show announcements today. I'm going to save the sponsor stuff for next time. Okay, tonight we're going to be talking about Defensecon. We're going to sort of be, we've had a few days now, but Defensecon's been going on for what, almost a week and some change. We've had some time now to sit with some of this stuff for a bit. All the new flight-ready ships are now in our hands. I thought it would be a good night to sort of take a look at what has released, what are our feelings about it now that this stuff has, sat in our hangars for a bit. all that kind of stuff. So I thought it'd be a good conversation. We'll talk about some of the controversies that have popped up in the last couple of weeks, or in the last week, everything related to flight blades coming again, which we all knew was going to happen, all the way to the Odin Founders Club access emails, the greatest controversy of 2026 in the Star Citizen universe. At least from what I can tell. It seems like the greatest controversy. I get more, I've probably gotten more DMs about concerns about how this was handled on the CIG side than I've had about anything else in a while. So it's going to be interesting.
I'm going to put back a little bit. I think the teleportation controversy has gotten more hit than this. But
we may have to talk about that. Because it's a good one. That one, the whole teleportation thing kind of flew under the radar a little bit. But the funny thing was that, what was it, Art? About a week or 2 weeks before Defensecon, we did an episode with Dusty from Thrusters and Dust. And one of the things that was talked about on that episode was friction and like getting people together and what the solutions may be. And we talked about fast travel or teleportation or something like that, maybe tied to the beds and stuff and ships and stuff. But we had that conversation. And even then, I remember in chat, there was strong opinions on no, strong opinions on yes. So I would agree with you, Fastcard. I mean, I think that will be a tricky subject that CIG's got to dance around. The bad thing is they're back-to-back with these controversies. So that's normally how it goes with CIG. Though. Hey, look, you ain't getting a Defensecon without some controversy. Last year, it definitely was the flight blades. Last year was the flight blade was controversy. This year, flight blades have largely gone under the radar. Like there hasn't been a lot.
You can buy it in the game.
You can buy them in the games. So it's a non-issue now. But don't worry, CIG had other stuff ready for it. We love our CIG friends. We love our CIG friends. Real quick though, before we dive into all that, I did want to do a quick update for you all for StarJump Fleet Viewer. And I specifically want to call out a couple people. Obviously, I do know VMXEO is in chat. VM, say hello. Make sure you give VM an 07. Oh, we got some more donations. Dark Knight with a $160 donation and Pac-Man with a $60 donation. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We just hit $55,000 raised. VMXEO and Starlet, many of you know Starlet, have been doing a lot of incredible work in Fleet Viewer behind the scenes. Obviously, VMXEO putting out new ship stuff, but also, as he illuminated today, working on some other stuff that may enable some additional ship states coming to Fleet Viewer. So more on that soon.
Is that however, a TM or without the TM?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say without the TM. I feel very confident.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Even better.
He says he may be working on that as we speak. Appreciate you. Now, Starlet, I do want to shout her out. She's been doing an incredible amount of work on Fleet Viewer behind the scenes. And as you can see here, we have a new front end to the site. And I just want to explain a little bit of some of the changes coming in and why you're seeing this. So we have Hangar Link, as you all know and love. And then Fleet Viewer Advanced is the Fleet Viewer we just launched recently, sort of Fleet Viewer 2.0, as we call it, internally. We had a lot of requests, though, for people to have the sort of the old school Fleet Viewer experience. And I see Griffin Gaming in chat. But the old Fleet Viewer experience, and I think the request there was because it sort of worked on mobile. So we did think about that a little bit, and we found a good way to implement that. So essentially what we've got here in the middle is StarJump Fleet Viewer, which is just sort of we're considering the classic. And then we have StarJump Fleet Viewer Advanced, which gives more controls, more nuance, but a higher learning curve to use it, okay? But when you go into any of these options now, we've done before, this was a big complaint recently, to connect your hangar to the experience, you had to go into Hangar Link first, connect your RSI account, then back out, then go to Fleet Viewer and add your fleets. Now you can do it directly from any of the experiences. They all contain the RSI Connect feature. You'll also get some nice tutorial tips that pop up, including the UX drawer. A lot of people did not like that it was automatically collapsed when you get here, so now it's out by default. You can add your first ship, all that good stuff. We'll add Art's favorite ship, the 890 Jump. You can then, you have your UX pad here, and we've got a little drawer here that pops up that allows you to hide it if you want. We have new help features up here that have all kinds of helpful tips and information on Fleet Viewer. We're going to update that with a new tutorial video soon. We've also got Hanger Link Connect extensions now for Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. Thank you, Starlet. And again, just a host of other fixes and things that have gone into this. Again, if you go back to the classic mode, it's very, very reminiscent of the old way Fleet Viewer worked. It was a little bit more simplified. You didn't have many ways you didn't have as much custom features that you could add with all the type and, add imagery and all that kind of stuff. But again, some people like that. So Fleet Viewer.
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what is the percentage of your traffic that actually comes from Edge? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't know. I need to ask Starlet that. The funny thing with the Edge thing is we had one person ask for that support, and we tried to integrate it. I mean, I think probably the vast majority obviously is from Chrome, but yeah, I'd be curious. I think one of the next things we're going to look into is a lot of those analytics, because we have other things where we're like, what's like the most popular ship for people to spawn, you know what I mean, in Fleet Viewer and stuff. Just little things like that we're kind of curious about. So we may do some sort of,
end of the year, like CIG does.
Exactly. Yeah. So we might do some like analytic tracking or something. We're still talking about it. But either way, Fleet Viewer is being updated pretty regular. You may see some updates over the next few days and weeks as Starlet continues to churn on things. And then, like I said, VMXEO is also doing some cool work behind the scenes. We got a $100 donation from Kirk and a $60 donation from Forsaken. Thank you very much, gents, for those. I do appreciate it. All right. Now it's time to move over to our real topics tonight, but I did want to give the Fleet Viewer update. Everyone give them an 07 for their hard work, Starlet and VM. All right, let's talk about Defensecon. Fastcar, how's Defensecon been for you this year? Have you enjoyed it? Do you like these events? I guess I should ask.
Well, I used to like them more when they had the daily manufacturers change.
Yeah,
like 2 years ago. I used to like them more. This time, it's more like one and done. I only go if there's a ship I want to rent. And I rented the Ironclad Assault. I got the Ironclad in my hangar, so I was able to look at that. And I was disappointed to notice that the lighting was bugged. It was dark in there, so I wanted to compare what real lighting would look like in the Ironclad Assault. And it's interesting. It's I like it. I probably will keep it. But it has a lot more cargo than I expected. The concept was 1,500 for the Ironclad.
For the original, the base, yeah.
Yeah, but now it's like over 2,200. I'm like, that's a lot of cargo. I mean, I'm not really complaining, but that's a lot of cargo.
Hey, it's pushing up on your ship, though, man. It's pushing up on your merchantman.
I know. That's the other thing. It's like, because the other thing is like, the merchantman is like 28, almost 2,900.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but I mean, seeing the actual Ironclad, that's not a solo ship.
Yeah.
You're only going to bring that out when you have a group with you that you need to haul a lot of cargo. So it'll be interesting when I find a use case for it.
We're going to go through all the ships, but out of all the ships, was the Ironclad the most kind of exciting release for you, or the one that you were?
For me, yeah, because I had it in my hangar.
Yeah, in your hangar. Yeah,
in my hangar. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was the same way. I mean, the Ironclads were one of those ships, and I don't do this a lot, especially with the concept ships, but the Ironclad was one that, like, the day the concept was announced, I grabbed both of them. Like, I just appealed to me right off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I should say I got both of them with the intention of only keeping one, but I wanted to see where they both fell. So I didn't get like the pack or anything. I got them individually.
I have the Ironclad base as a ship, but I have the CCU for the Ironclad Assault as a CCU just in case. And I'm glad I got it then rather than now, because they went up by $175.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, pretty significantly. Yeah. I mean, and I think that, I was bringing up the Merchantman a little bit earlier when joking around with you, because I know it's your favorite ship, I believe. But that's another ship that's going to go up, and it's just it's a reminder, because again, they're not doing concepts anymore after the Odin, but like it's just a reminder that some of these concept ships, one of the things we're losing with this no more concept stuff, which sounds great to everyone. Everyone, when they say, hey, no more new concepts, everyone's like, yeah, I don't want any more concepts. But to me, there are still a few negatives. And one of the negatives is not getting that concept price anymore with these ships, which can be significant. Specifically,
I was expecting. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say specifically with big ships like the Merchantman and stuff like that, where there's some people out there that have $350, $300 Merchantmans, but when that ship comes out, I guarantee you it's going past $1,000. I don't see how it could.
I was going to say that I was expecting the Odin to be 3,500 or 4,000.
Oh yeah,
but, So $1,000 more than that, or not, or 1,900 depending on outside credit. So that's more. I mean, but. Yeah, it probably will be worth it, because it's a huge ship.
Yeah,
but for the Merchantman, I'll be surprised if it goes above 1,000, because any ship over 1,000 is guaranteed LTI, and it's not a whole limited ship. So I'm expecting it to go to 975.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. The Merchantman's an interesting one, and we can segue to that for just a little bit here, because it's I know it's your ship. If I was on your show, we'd be talking about the Kraken, But I'll say that, like, it is an interesting ship from a size standpoint too, because it is technically like Kraken, Idris sized, but actually in terms of like internal space, it's not Idris size or Kraken size. It's a little smaller, so I could see it not quite hitting the Idris Kraken price point, but still high. It's going to be really interesting to see where the Merchantman falls. And I would say that for other capitals that are sub $1,000 that are not out yet. So, for example, Pioneer. That's another one that I'm real interested to see where that's going to fall, because CIG sort of had it at what you would think is like a good capital price point, but we know it has to go up.
And another ship that we were talking about before the show started was the Endeavor. I mean, that's gotta be 975, if not over 1,000 when it comes out. So
from a gameplay perspective alone, I'm still one of those people that I'm not necessarily sold on the idea that the Endeavor is going to be this massive, huge ship. I still think it's going to be big ship, but it doesn't technically need to be 500 meters long or anything like that, like some people think, because of its modular nature. They can actually build it small. So I think it's going to probably end up being around Kraken size, 260, 270, 280.
It's interesting because they can keep it the same length, but they can extend it vertically up and down.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where it lands.
Right and left.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those bigger old concepts like that, it's just going to be really interesting to see where they fall. And again, you could put a lot of them in that category. Orion. We have seen some increases in some of those ships over time. Hull D, Hull E have definitely crept up to sort of stay in line with the Hull C. But we still don't know what that flight ready price is for them. Banu Merchantman, Endeavor. We haven't seen a lot of movement to ships like the Starliner and the Crucible and stuff, but I do think it's not too far away that we'll see adjustments there.
Yeah, getting the Crucible at a CCU of 350, I don't want to say it's a steal, but I don't want to give people investment in advice or anything like that. But I think that's a good buy.
I would think so too. And again, it's just going to be one of those things where it's just going to be interesting, really interesting to see where it falls out. Now, was there anything? So obviously you were looking forward to the Ironclad. I was looking forward to the Ironclad as well. Again, Drake fan, not as big a fanboy as everyone jokes around of, but the Ironclad definitely spoke to me, and I was really happy with it. We're going to go into the Ironclad here in detail in a minute, and it was expected the Ironclad was coming, because last year it was said that this year's Defensecon, there was no Defensecon last year, and they said that this year was going to be a big year, so we knew something big, Drake, was happening. But was there anything about Defensecon, and Art, feel free to jump in on any of these as well, but was there anything that was not, or was maybe a little underwhelming or disappointing about Defensecon this year?
For me personally, for me personally, I mean, it's not really a disappointment. It's like, okay, I'm going to say the M80, the Odin M80. It's supposed to be a heavy fighter, but it's Odin. And it has four weapons on it. But they explain it later. It's a boom and zoom type of ship. It's like the bigger sister or brother or sibling to the M50.
Yeah,
so it makes sense that the M80 is boom and zoom. So, but I prefer a tank like ship like the F8 or the or like a Hornet.
Yeah,
I know the Hornet is not a heavy fighter, but similar along those lines. So when I heard the M80 with the boom and zoom, I'm like, I lost complete interest right away when I heard that.
Yeah. Art, we have a poll going. What's the poll?
So we have a poll currently going on, and it's what's the best thing shown at Defensecon. So
there we go.
Because YouTube and Twitch only allow certain numbers going on. So I've got YouTube's got 5 options, or I'm sorry, Twitch's got 5 options. YouTube's only got 4. So I had to kind of pair things a little bit together.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
But I think
you
honestly
skew the results. I see what you're doing.
Listen, I'm anything away from Drake, I'm happy.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how much swag you get in the future.
all Drake swag too. It will be. I think my biggest disappointment was the fact that it was a one room kind of open floor show. There was no reason to go back. You went once and you're done unless you want to rent stuff. Right. And
which is what they're doing for IAE now too, right? I mean, they kind of do the one setup. Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed. I would really hope that they would have invested more. I know obviously they got more things going on with Squadron, and now that there's no CitizenCon, I'm assuming it's just Squadron that they're working on as much as possible on the marketing side with these events and stuff. Yeah. But it felt lazy. It felt really lazy, and I wasn't a big fan of it.
I have a theory. I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but I have a theory as to why they do it like this now. Because remember that one year when they had IAE when it was broken, and they only had that one manufacturer put out the whole IAE. So they decided then and there to just consolidate them all into one room for the whole event. I think that was the trigger.
It's for a work efficiency standpoint, it totally makes sense why they're doing it this way. One way that I think they could sort of get the best of both worlds, though, in the future is to have essentially one static setup, right? But maybe there is, one room or one pedestal that is rotated out with, new interesting stuff. Now, it couldn't always be the new ship that week because sometimes it's a giant ship, sometimes it's a small snub ship. But what you could do is just make it like a large pad that gets populated with things, and it doesn't have to be new ships all the time. It could be ships with their weapon kits laid out, ships with interesting new paint, something that makes you go back maybe not every day, but every week. And so essentially think of like one room within all the rooms, just one room that sort of has a rotating weekly switch out of stuff. You know what I mean? That would take a little bit of a redesign, but I don't know, maybe there's some way that they can kind of split the difference.
How is that different from what it was previous?
Well, I guess previously they would have to switch out all the rooms, right? So it was like every hall got switched out, if I remember correctly. So. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they had different levels, different halls. Like and each level had a different manufacturer. Especially on the last 2 days, the best of. Yeah. When they had all the manufacturers and on different levels. Yeah. I would prefer if they could do that, just do it for the whole event. Yeah. Have all the different manufacturers that have different levels throughout the whole event, but. Yeah. Then they have to spoil everything ahead of time, and I can see how that they may not want to do that.
VMXEO kind of brings up something. He says the script hunt from last year, if you remember, there was the scripts you could hunt for, gave people a reason to go back. That's a great example. They didn't have anything like that this year. I think that would have been good. Yeah, Griffin says, I like the fact that they included the marketing of the new ships ahead of time as part of Drake's push against the UE. Yeah, that's really interesting. I think we should talk about that for a second because as a content creator, that really sort of, well, actually, let me back up because I definitely don't want to be known as a content creator. But as someone who likes to talk about the new ships, which is something I like doing, the sneak peeks were kind of a blessing and a curse a little bit, where it was kind of nice to know what you were planned for, but it also took a little bit of the wind out of the sails, so to speak, of like excitement. However, I am wondering why they did that. Was it specifically to the idea maybe for them was that they were building up hype in the week ahead? Maybe there was some concern there that Defensecon was going to feel a little lacking compared to Invictus. I don't know if that's what
wasn't there a leak and they were just trying to get ahead of a leak.
Maybe there was a leak, but I would say this too. I think CIG has done a really good job of clamping down on the leaks. Now there's still data mining. That still happens. Yeah. I've been pretty vocal in saying that I do not consider data mines leaks. When CIG puts it in the game files, they already know they're going to be data mined immediately, and any new strings that they put in there, any new code is going to be discovered. So in my mind, anything that gets put in a build, I don't want to say it's fair game. I mean, I definitely still respect CIG in keeping some things back, but when they put it in that build and that build goes to Evo or PT or something, it's out there. I mean, it's sort of like putting something on the internet. You've now put it out in the world. So when I look at leaks, though, is something that that is like coming from a developer and they're sort of speaking out of turn, right? Or information's coming from a developer. And we know we've had that in the past. Now, when I say that about data mines, that doesn't mean data mines are always morally right or that they don't break, as Kusanagi says, maybe they still break, terms of service, things like that. But we also all know that this is a video game that is being played by a rabid fan base. And it doesn't have to be Star Citizen. It could be GTA. It could be Destiny 5, whatever game we're talking about. When the information goes out into the world, people are going to data mine it and disseminate it. You know what I mean? Not saying it's the right thing. I'm just saying it will happen. So I think CIG has to know that to some degree.
And it could be just something similar that they wanted to try something new and see how it works. I think this year, like you said, for content creators or people who like to talk about ships in your case, I think this is a good year. They got ahead of the data mine and the leak. And I can see them doing this for IAE if it's possible or if it's popular as it seems to be.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the funding was for this Defensecon versus last year.
Well, I'm looking at the CCU game dashboard right now. They're ahead of. I mean, they're at 61 million for the year, and that's almost tied for last year when May ended, and they got they still have another week or a few days.
Good solid week, including a big concept sale in that week. Right. That's going to bring a bunch of money,
including the Odin.
And not only go ahead, Art.
So our poll went ahead and ended after about 10 minutes. So for Twitch, about half of all the votes were more excited about the M80 and the Starlight, while as for YouTube, it was the Ironclad and the Ironclad Assault. But the M80, and that was with 44%, but the M80 and the Starlight was like a 30% behind. So I would say that the M80 Starlight kind of stole the show. Which is a little interesting.
I told several people that the M80, when we first heard that there was going to be some Origin heavy fighter, I was like, oh boy, it's going to be popular. It's going to be popular. Mainly because it's also a manufacturer we just hadn't seen anything from for a while. So there's some excitement behind it. Heavy fighters always generate buzz. And the Starlight, the thing that I think that gave that the big kick in the ass that it needed to be popular is that price point. again,
That's
just
price,
very
yeah.
attractive to people. You know what I mean?
I would expect it to be 90 or 100.
Yeah. And as Kusanagi says in chat, it brought new gameplay. And, we'll get into that when we get to the Starlight. But let's talk about, yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that, the reason why, the Ironclad has been so kind of meh is because of all the bugs and the issues and it not being properly tested?
Maybe. But what I would say...
It's just all the problems.
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean,
what I would...
For me, I think there are already so many cargo ships, already ships to carry freight and cargo, so... I add another one to a pile. Whereas, the M80, it's an Origin M80, it's Origin heavy fighter, so that's unique.
I agree. What I would say though, and I don't say this to be apologetic for CIG, but I would hope that people give CIG a little bit of leeway on the problems with the Ironclad. The Ironclad was always going to have these problems because it's the first new ship in a long time that we've gotten new feature tech tied directly to the actual functionality of the ship. And we haven't had that in a long time. Okay, I'm trying to think of when the last time I think the last time we had that was when salvaging came into the game. Like where because even refueling with the Starlight was in with the Starfare. We've had that. Yeah, there was some changes they made, but in terms of feature tech, not only was there new feature tech that come onto the Ironclad, but that feature tech was tied to the actual usage of the ship, right? So, just that being said, it was going to go through growing pains. So,
I think the Clipper had the fabricator, right? Well, had a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
so
but turned off.
I think the Clipper, So I think the Clipper, and the Clipper was okay, but it was a smaller ship.
Yeah. Now, Prototype Sky says in chat, and I agree with you, Prototype. I actually fully agree with you. He says this can't happen after 1.0 though, and I will back you on that 1,000%. When we get to the 1.0 landscape, we do need to have a proper testing mechanism for these ships. This is one of the again goes back to that thing I was talking about with the no new concept stuff. With concept ships, I feel like there was still a little bit of a known entity there in the past where a ship was coming off backlog, so they were more apt to test it in PTU or EVO a little bit. There's been controversy with that too. I remember the MSR testing period. But regardless, with the ships going straight to flight ready, I feel like there's this big desire to keep them a surprise for marketing purposes so they don't really enter a proper at-scale testing period. Now, I could be wrong on that. Maybe CIG is not thinking that way, but I do think obviously it's a little bit of a bummer when you've been expecting a ship like the Ironclad, you get in and it's broken. I was already mentally prepared for it though, because when the first PTU builds went out that had the Ironclad in, it was only like 2 days before Defensecon started, and it was horribly broken, the ship. You know what I mean? I was like, there's no way this will be fixed by Drake Day. You know what I mean? What I think they could do next time maybe though, and I could see how this could affect Defensecon or IAE, but maybe the more complicated ships shouldn't have been front loaded on day one. Maybe day one should have been Misc Day. Come in with the Starlight first. Then 2 days later, you get Origin Day and sort of build up to that. You know what I mean? It does make me wonder for next year with the Kraken coming, is Kraken going to be day one? Or are they going to save that for like the last? I don't know how they're going to play that. That's a whole limited ships. It's a little different. But yeah, I see that. It was interesting, the testing on that and the state they released. So.
I think their mistake was last year with the Perseus. When it came out was great. It
and
came
no
out well.
It
had issues, no new feature tech, but it came out right. It was a very popular ship. They made a ton of money selling them. Yeah. And they were like, let's do that again with the Ironclad, and then they just weren't ready. Yeah, and it looks really bad, especially when you compare it to last year, when you see all these Perseus around everywhere. You're like, okay, yeah. I mean, a lot of my org mates have Perseus. Yeah, and then we've been talking about using the Ironclad, and a lot of the guys are still hesitant to use the Ironclad because of all the bugs.
Yeah.
Is it a proper term, pussy eye?
You are correct, sir. Percy.
Okay.
Just making sure. How many new flyable ships came out in Defensecon? They got I'm not counting the Odin because that's not flyable. So
Six new ships at Defensecon. Yeah.
That's a lot that they have to go through and test. I believe last IAE was 5.
It is, and all of them were a little bit kind of different. You had a refueling ship, you had a ship with a giant size 10 laser beam, you've got a snub ship, you've got a heavy fighter that's got some complex animations, and then you've got 2 sister ships, the Ironclad and the Ironclad Assault, that bringing on new feature tech. So there was a lot of like disparate things to test too. And again,
so I think that's part of the issue, that they had to keep track and make sure they had a whole lot on their plate this time. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, I do like to give CIG the benefit of the doubt and think that they take all these as a learning experience for next time. Maybe they'll make some adjustments for next time. You know, these are people behind the scenes that are pushing this live. It's you know, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be misreads and stuff like that. So hopefully it was a learning experience. I mean, I will say in general, and I still see a lot of excitement around the Ironclad and a lot of discussion. I think people understand that it's going to get there, you know. Real quick though, let's talk about a few other things. They're just sort of very like, you know, high level view sort of stuff. We talked about like how do you feel about Defensecon? How do you feel about Star Citizen right now? How's Star Citizen feeling right now? What's the vibe?
If you're asking me, okay. If you're asking me, I haven't been able to. I have not. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. A new game came out last week called Horizon, Forza Horizon 6. It's a racing game. So I've been taking kind of I haven't been playing Star Citizen because I don't want to spoil myself or get burnt out on Star Citizen before 1.0 comes out. Because when the game comes out, I'm kind of like I kind of know life a game. Like I'm up when I get up in the morning, start playing the game until I eat and go to bed and shut down the game.
Yeah.
So that's my game style. I'm doing that with Forza Horizon, even though I shouldn't. But that's how I do it. So I don't want to burn myself out on Star Citizen. So I went on Defensecon the first day. I rented the Ironclad Assault. I haven't been back, and I've been playing for the Horizon 6. So that's my excuse.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm definitely, and people that know me know this. I actually don't play a lot of games in general. I play 1 or 2 games, and I put a lot into them. You know what I mean? So when I started playing Star Citizen, put a lot.
I'm just saying. I only buy like 2 or 3 games a year.
Yeah.
This is like my first game of the year.
If I'm playing WoW, I'm fully into WoW. If I'm playing Scum, then I'm playing Scum every night. It's not, I don't really switch games a lot. Just my brain doesn't work that way. But yeah, no, I get that. I mean, look, I think it's healthy to take those breaks and step away. I think the game is tricky right now. There's some, I think VMXEO said, is uneven at best right now, and I think that's a good descriptor. So
I will have to add, I do have to build up my credit, my Alpha UEC back up. So
yeah.
I got to get back in the game to do that, but that'll come eventually.
Yeah. You know, it's the game has always been very patch based to me, and what I mean by that is that there's patches that are great and patches that are not great for me. And sometimes it's not just like how well the actual gameplay loops are functioning. Some patches just don't perform well for me, or I don't have good connection and like performance optimization on like just like frame rates and stuff, connection issues, just different weird things like that. I haven't played much this patch, but I do want to get in. But over the past year, I did play a lot. I played a lot of the events, you know, Supply or Die. I played almost every single day for Supply or Die. And then some of the other events last year, I played pretty heavily too. So I felt good about, you know, how much I was putting in. Currently kind of playing another game as my focus. I haven't been in Star Citizen much, but, you know, obviously ears to the ground. Well, let's talk about the other big one in the room, though, and that is Squadron 42. Obviously, there's some discussion and some hopes, I think, that We're still on target for release this year, and I think everybody's wondering, when does that marketing push start? When does sort of the kickoff to release start? Because I think people are very hesitant to even get excited about Squadron without that marketing push happens. And I know CIG said something, I think it was CR, said something in the letter of chairman, I think, where it was like, we may not do this big giant marketing, but I hope they do, because I think
it'll be a
shorter one. Yeah, but I do think they need to build. And I was just reading an interview with the CEO of Take-Two, and regarding GTA, and he was talking on the conference call with investors. Some of the investors were asking, is it even necessary to do a marketing push for GTA when everyone knows it's going to be the biggest selling pop culture thing in existence? And his answer was, absolutely, of course. Of course we're going to market the hell out of this thing. And he talked about the importance of that, even with a known quantity like GTA. But I think that's doubly important with Star Citizen. So I hope CIG has a good plan. I think they do. The question is, when does that start? Do you feel like, Fastcart, that it could start soon?
I think technically they started when they did the level up thing. I mean, it wasn't quite for too specific, but they put the Star Citizen name out there along with CLX, and that, from what I can see, had I don't want to say huge impact, but it seemed like it got a lot of popularity. I'm looking at CCU game, and you can track by pledges, or you can track by citizen. In April, they had the most people. They got CID brought in 90K new accounts in April, and for the year, this is the highest they've been since 2022, which post COVID. So they're bringing in quite a few people.
I think there is a little bit of a tension, an excitement or tension in the room, especially amongst the current player base, because we know that 2026 is supposed to be the year. So there is this like simmering kind of like expectation building. But it's really critical for them to also be tapping into that mass market gamer, the people that don't give a rat's ass about Star Citizen or Squadron yet, that barely know about them. They're going to have to tap into them in a major way, and hopefully, plans are in place to do that. And I guess the question is, a lot of people have been saying, are we going to see that during Defensecon? Are we going to see some announcement? I don't know.
Here's the thing. I know this is the topic for later, but we don't know what they're going to do when they hit $1 billion in crowdfunding.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll take that opportunity to say, hey, Squadron for the 2, blah, blah, blah.
Could.
You never know.
They could. Yeah, they absolutely could. They could do it on Anvil Day, specifically with some sort of lore tie-in with the UEE Navy. And yes, they're in Seoul now, but we're putting the Odin here as a thank you to whoever lore thing. They could tie that up with a bow with some sort of Squadron thing. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, Art, what do you think? Any predictions? We're going to get a Squadron 42 announcement?
I think we're going to get one at the end of Defensecon. It makes sense for them to to kick it out. There's not really, it's kind of a lull time, and it's, you got Alien Week coming, so we've got some time. The patches have been horrendous right now. I think this is a good way for them to try to save Defensecon at the end, and kind of increase that spending is by opening up them Squadron 42 packages again. And give them a limited time, hey, for the next couple months, we're going to be able to pick it up, and I think we're going to get an estimation of when it's going to be. I don't think we're going to get a date. I think we'll get fall would be my guess. We got a lot of content and stuff that is on the edge with, Planet Tech V5 and everything else that looks like it might be heading that way around the fall time frame, maybe winter. So my concern is, though, has the team kind of left the PTU on the sideline because they're trying to wrap up so much more in Squadron, and that's why it was so bad.
Well, here's what I'll say. If that's the case, I would say it's worth it. I think, again, we and even people that aren't in the Squadron, I think are thinking this, where it's just like, get Squadron out the door. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully we all love it. I want to love it. I'm excited to play it, but get it out the door. As you heard from CR in that interview that was done, what was it, back in February or whatever, once Squadron was out the door, they would be focusing then on the 1.0 push. People want that, right? So when that will come, we'll have to see. Let's move along here. And by the way, everyone, thank you for the follows. Do appreciate it. We had an incredible amount of follows last stream, and that really blew us up. Do appreciate you all coming and hanging out with us tonight. The giveaway does seem to be working, by the way. We have 45 minutes left to enter. 45 minutes left to enter.
It's actually announcing about every 5 minutes.
Oh, is it?
It does a post every 5 minutes saying, hey, you got this much time left. So that's awesome. That you don't have to keep reminding.
Okay,
that
great.
It's
I
great.
I see now I have a reminder set to every 5 minutes. Maybe on next stream I could do every 10. I don't know. We'll see. But okay, now I know what that does. Again, we're sort of testing this, everyone. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the ships. Now, I will say we sort of went over the Ironclads already. We kind of talked about them, the pros and cons to them. But I think we can skip sort of down to the last thing question to the panel here, obviously, which is this a smart ship to buy? Is it a ship to skip? Or should you wait for fixes? I'll answer first on this one. I think it's a smart buy. It'll get fixed. I'm confident in that. CIG obviously has put a lot of work into the feature tech for this one, so they're going to want to get it working. I even melted my Carrack because I've decided to turn my Assault into an Explorer ship. I'm going to put a Nursa in it and a Terrapin in it, and suddenly, boom, it's an amazing Explorer ship. So I see a lot of flexibility with it. I do think it's a smart buy. What do you all think?
I'll go next, I guess. I have one. I don't really regret it. Okay. It's a Drake ship, and
Which
it's my
is
only Drake ship.
Amazing.
And I bought it because of the feature and the cargo and everything like that. But it's a Drake ship. So if another ship with comparable SCU comes along, I'm probably will change it, but yeah, for now I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
Also, it's not. I don't believe it's a solo ship because you're going to need some help in order to load and unload cargo.
Yeah.
So people were asking that in chat. So if you have a couple of free friends, and it would be a good buy. But if you do it for yourself, maybe not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I mean, you do have to consider the crew requirements for this ship. Yeah, absolutely. Art?
I am a wait for fixes. My thing is this: there's just too much around it that just kind of have aggravated me, and I aggravated a lot of my org mates. Like, how can we have something that is supposed to be so centric to being able to transport stuff, being able to, go in with the assault and the extra armor and drop tanks and drop this when we have trouble getting into the ship. We have trouble quantuming the ship. You can't see inside of the ship. And I think it's a bad precedence. Like, if you bought it, cool. I know a lot of our guys, or at least a few of our guys, have bought it and already melted it. And when it's fixed, they'll buy it back.
Can I give some advice to how to fix those problems, though? It's very easy. You land it on the deck of my Kraken, and all that's magically solved. I could take you anywhere you want to go. We'll QT wherever you want to go. You don't even need to bring a command module. You don't.
What a legend. You're such a good friend.
Here's the thing. The Kraken is not flyable yet.
But fast car.
Well,
it will be. It will be in 1 year's time.
Or
maybe
you can come under my merchant, man, and I help you.
That's true.
Cargo
That's
and stuff for a price.
I have a release date for my Kraken, though, my friend. I have a release date.
Now you're splitting hairs. Okay, I see how it is.
Real quick, everyone. I think I have our boy Griff. Let's bring him down to chat. I'm going to switch over to the 4-window view here. We're going to dial Griff right into this bad boy. Griff, are you there? Let's see. Do we have? He's
Probably still
muted.
setting up.
I'm getting the video link to him now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
I've got him on the wrong panel. Let me get that fixed. I've messed.
You can get rid of that guy.
I've messed
Get
it
rid of
up
that guy.
already.
Don't lie. Wow.
Yep,
And he
I've-
specifically told me that panel too. Make sure you give him this
I've-
specific one.
I've messed it up already, folks. I've messed it up already. Okay, one second. Okay, there's that one. It's because I switched them up.
You should have went with my idea from before the show started. Want me to say what my idea was?
Yeah.
You should have just made a double stuff audio. Have
Why is
me
it
and
doing
Griffin on
this?
the outside and put you two in the middle.
Back to the Oreo. I love it.
Wait a
I
minute.
love
Why
it.
is it doing this? It's messing up, but that's okay. Bear with me. I have to get. It's misbehaving, but that's okay. I got to solve for this. Let me plug FastCart back in. And then what I've got to do is I've got to create a new. See, you're getting the behind the scenes.
This is proof we don't all look alike.
That's true. That's true. Very true. Let's see here. I'm going to call this one Griff Cam. Doing it live, people. We're doing it live. You can't see the work going on behind the scenes right now, but I promise you, good stuff is going on behind the scenes. Okay. Actually, while I'm getting you plugged in here, Griff, what'd you think of Defensecon?
I was listening. I was in the car listening this whole time to you guys. I actually like the spin that CIG did on Defensecon, mostly because one of the things that I've been wanting them to do for quite a while is to tie lore into the real-time aspects of the game. So this whole opening that they had about the UEE having to go to Seoul, that definitely raises some questions. Plus the contention that's been going on between Drake and the UEE for quite a while has been interesting. So I'm hoping that it's not just a fluke, that this is kind of leading into something lore-wise, gameplay-wise, and to your point earlier, even possibly Squadron 42-wise.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that these are kind of breadcrumbs. It's not just, just marketing per se for the sake of marketing, but, that CIG starts to mix the real world of what we do into the lore of the game. And I don't know where the direction of it's going to go. I definitely laughed out loud when I came into the convention hall the first time, just to see the complete opposite, the rock music, the concert, the fireworks, Drake's whole attitude of, pushing back against the system, which I thought was great, but then there was also the other side of when you went into the other rooms, you kind of just had the nice classical music going on and you got to see that. But the fact that Drake used that atmosphere in their room. The other thing I really liked, and I know you guys talked about it when we talked about the announcing the ships ahead of time so that we would see what was coming. But I also like the fact that all those ships were available for us to look at day one. Even if their day didn't come up, all the new ships were out there on the floor. That's
true.
And so that kind of offset things for me. If I had to wait for them, and I understand we've got the nostalgia of how they used to do it, and that's great. But, to me, it's like what we were doing 3-4 years ago. If you look at how many ships there are now, to do those floors right now, each day for each manufacturer would be a monstrosity because each year it would grow. So the fact that they've condensed it down to maybe what their analytics say are the popular ships that they want to push both from a marketing standpoint and our gameplay standpoint, and the fact that they put those 5 ships out there for us, to me, I just love the fact that that was out there, because ships I wasn't interested in buying, the Tibberon or whatever, I did go take a look at them. I was nice that they were all out there on the floor day one. And then, of course, launching the videos in coincidence with those days when they launch. I'm sorry that we didn't get to see a video for the Tibberon.
Yeah.
But the fact that we did get 3 of the videos was really nice. And me, I'm an Origin guy.
Yeah.
Let me put my pitch in right now for Origin. I'm going to put my, just like you have your Kraken.
That's right.
Me, I'm going to do my Origin thing, right? Okay. I've told people this on our show plenty of times. There's only one ship I ever bought without looking at the specs, brochure, nothing. And that was the 600i. When I saw that commercial, they had my money before it said Origin at the end, right? This was the exact same thing for the M80, right?
Okay.
No specs, no details, but the ship coming out of the water, boom, you got my money. So that's kind of how it was with that.
And
right?
that's the way some of these ships are. You know what I mean? They just sometimes it's okay to get a ship purely based off the aesthetics. I mean, CIG puts a lot of work into them. You know, I mean, I talked with some of those designers. We've had long talks with Gavin Rothery and Paul Jones and stuff, and there's a lot of work that goes into the style, the aesthetics, the vibes of these ships, and that stuff matters. There's value there. Hey, Ryan,
and
Matt
specs
Gamer.
do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, specs do too. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not that. It's just that I'm a origin guy, and so you know, I'm happy with that design language that they do. I think people should be wise, though. They should not just buy based on looking at stuff. I think you should pay attention to what these ships are going to do.
And you can see here, you bring up a lot of ships. I mean, again, there are a lot of ships in Star Citizen. Obviously, some of these are not flight ready, but there's also a ton of ships we don't even have access to that are in Squadron 42 that CIG tracks.
Yeah.
So you got to remember the ship teams, everyone, they're tracking more than just what we have access to. John Cruz talked about that before. I can't remember the exact number, but based off what he was saying, I mean, I'm totally speculating here, but I'm guessing there's at least another 40 ships we don't know about that are maybe squadron specific. And some of them may just be background decor ships or whatever and don't have interiors or stuff, but CIG still has to sort of maintain those, keep the art up, keep them functioning and stuff. So it's a lot to track for them. So.
Yeah. I have a quick question for Griffin before we move on. Just quick. Griffin, have you been to Defensecon more than one day? Or like
I was there yesterday. I was there yesterday, in fact. You know, I went the first day just to when it was in PTU, I went just to go see the showroom. I didn't walk around. I just went to go see it. And once I saw how it was very close, okay, I'll come back. And then, of course, when we came back later, it was fleshed out. That day I did go and look at all the ships. And then I went back again a day after that. Then I went yesterday because there were some things I realized I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen the flight suit area. I also hadn't looked at, I went over there too because there was some other reason why I went. I know what it was. I went to get CC Creator. He was stuck inside the Tibberon, so I got him out. But there was some other reason why I was there, that I saw something that I hadn't seen. And I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I can for those of us who are old hats, you know, the old dinosaurs, it's an easy been there, done that kind of feeling. So, you know, I understand why we feel that way when we go. We are nostalgic about what used to be laid out there before, but you know, a lot of us also are not at that point where we're looking to buy new ships anymore. We know what's in the game. You know, we know what's out there. You know, we're either refining or melting and refining a little bit more at this point, more than buying new. But we still get drawn in even after years and years. We still get drawn in. You know?
So my question to you is this, Griffin, do you think that with last year and Defensecon not being a thing at all, do you think that was a marketing plan that they had done way back then to plan up to what we have last week and this week?
Listen, if people can say what they want about marketing for CIG, love them, hate them, you know, despise them, whatever, but their marketing works and their numbers don't lie. And they've been doing this for a while now. Don't get me wrong. Every once in a while they get it wrong, you know, Blades, you know, every once in a while something comes up that they don't get right. But for the most part, you know, running a business, like all of you guys know, you don't do businesses from you don't shoot from your hip. You know, you plan stuff out weeks, months ahead in advance. And so
we got 20 gifted subs.
Lefty. Hey, old Lefty from Test Squadron. 20
Lefty.
big ones.
Lefty.
Nice.
Hope you're doing well, buddy. Thank you for that. That is massive, dude. 20 gifted subs. Everyone give a Lefty an 07. That is incredibly generous. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate that. Hope you are doing well.
He's a big supporter.
He is.
Yeah, he is awesome. A big supporter of folks in Star Citizen. He's a good guy.
Thank you very much, Lefty. Appreciate you, man. Salute.
Yeah. But anyway, that's, you know, I do think that this is, again, and I could be wrong, Artorius, I'm hoping that all of this is kind of that move towards Squadron, you know, that things are starting to culminate, because this whole thing with, you know, this drop of the UEE had to quickly leave and go to Seoul. What's that, you know, what's that all about? You know what I mean? They left us hanging, you know, and who knows what that's going to be, you know, but it's something, because they didn't have to say that. They just could have said, this year Drake is doing so-and-so, but they dropped that little piece of bread for us to look at. So we'll see. Yeah.
You have to think they sort of went out of their way a little bit to sort of write the little lore blurb, and they could have just said, this is Defensecon this year, so what we're doing. You know, there doesn't have to be an explanation behind everything. So it does make you feel that there's sort of a, you know, a narrative building here. You know what I mean? And it makes sense when you consider that Squadron is all narrative. You know what I mean? We get narrative now. We just went through a year of like narrative patch drops, but Squadron is really going to hit hard. We're going to start to learn a lot of the lore, a lot of the backstory to this universe. So
Yeah.
And speaking of lore, I mean, I don't know if newer people may not realize this, but there's a reason why Defensecon is such a big deal, especially for Drake, because I would want to say in 2016, Drake was part of IAE and their celebration, but they broke some of the rules in lore. This is all in lore. They broke some of the rules, and they had boot babes and the dancers and stuff like that. And the UEE didn't like that, so they got banned. Ever since then, they started doing Defensecon, and now they're back with a big Defensecon this year instead of Invictus Flight Week, and they have dancers on top of these platforms and stuff like that.
Well,
so you say we're going to do it anyway. You're doing it our way.
My theory is, and I haven't told anyone this theory yet, but my theory is that we are getting an Invictus. And Invictus will be later this year, and it will be the launch of Squadron 42, because what is Invictus?
Wow.
It's the recruitment drive for the UE Navy.
Yeah.
It's for the new recruits.
That'd be cool.
So think about it. All these new recruits are about to join the UE Navy in Squadron 42. It makes, and how cool would that be if CIG just kind of up and said, hey, everyone, Invictus is coming October 5th or whatever it is, and we'd all be like, the hell? What? You know what I mean? And suddenly,
to your point, they used to have
it.
the whole Enlist Now marketing thing. Remember, they had the whole Enlist Now thing.
Yeah.
So you're right. They carried that over. That would
To be fair, they said that Invictus is going on right now on Sol, so I get that maybe doesn't connect, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of ways they could go with that, and it could be kind of cool. I mean, I definitely think they'll theme it to some degree. CIG's been leaning into that pretty heavily.
We're going to write it down that you said it today, okay? So that you can get
put it
credit
down
for that
so
later.
that everyone knows that it's me when it doesn't. All right, let's. We talked a little briefly about the Ironclad. We're going to move right over to this next ship, though, Pitbull. What is your guys' initial thoughts on the Drake Pitbull? Obviously, snub fighter. Do you have thoughts on the Pitbull or snub fighters in general? Did this ship excite anybody here? I've kind of given my spiel on this one already. I like it as a go have fun in the verse for an hour ship, but beyond that, there's not much there. What do you guys think? Who wants to go first?
Pick a name.
Fast Cart. Let's hand it to you.
Okay, I was going to Griffin go first because he was new, but okay, so it's ugly. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
It is an ugly ass ship.
We're gonna remove Fast
It is
Cart
an
from the
ugly
show.
ship, and you know, and I want to say it looked nothing like the singer or the performer Pitbull. I mean, what's going on there? But anyway,
It does get the party started though.
Yeah, exactly. It was not my interest. It's a snub fighter. I don't think I have any snub fighters in my fleet, other than the one that come with the Phoenix, the Archimedes. But that's part of the Phoenix, so I don't think I have any of them. It just wasn't my bag. But
well, the use case is questionable with sub fighters. I mean, I think that's the issue, in general. Griff, what do you think? Is this now your favorite ship?
No, I'm not a big Drake person. Nothing against Drake. I'm not one of those people that, other than like my buddy Colossal who says flying a Drake, dying a Drake. I'm not like that bad about Drake. I like it. When I first saw it, I said, I knew right off the bat, here's the counterpart to the Fury, right? Misk's Fury, which I thought was really cool. Back to their marketing again. I told you I kind of chuckled when I saw the M80 commercial. I chuckled on the 5-minute video that they did for the new thing that we have to do, the new campaign.
Yeah.
And the reason why I chuckled is this scene right here.
Right.
When the guy said, anybody call for help? And when you saw the Ironclad and the doors open, I said, what a freaking marketing job.
Oh, yeah.
It was like perfect, to sell this ship. And I remember people taking Furies back in the day and stuffing them into Caterpillars, hoping that they
knew what they're
from
doing. Yeah.
This one, they marked it right, and so is it practical? We'll see. We'll see. A lot of this is based upon what players want to do, and there's still a very heavy feeling of people doing things solo versus playing cooperatively. And I think that as players begin to do more cooperative play, except, obviously people were in orgs that are organized to do it, that's fine. But when you see this, the excitement is when all the pieces come together in a cooperative mode, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to go out there with your Ironclad in, 3 of these, you need to go out and do it up, right? And have fun with it. The firepower comes together when all those ships are on something, not when 1 or 2 are on something. So I'm excited to see some players that'll do something like this. I'm sure there'll be some folks out there that'll try it out.
Yeah, I mean,
my issue.
Yeah, go ahead, Fastcar.
My issue with the marketing thing is that when people try to do that in the actual game, they're going to be crashing and burning, and that's not feasible. That's not going to work.
Everybody doesn't fly like you, Fastcar.
That's
Everybody
true.
doesn't fly like you.
True. Hey, I couldn't get the ship out of the hangar. I was streaming just in our Discord.
Thank you.
And I crashed it in the Discord in the hangar. I will say this, when it was coming, I thought for sure the Pitbull was going to be a ground vehicle, because I thought, in the Ironclad Assault, concept images, they showed Novas rolling off of it. I thought we're getting a Drake tank, and that pairs perfectly with this. But what I didn't know at the time was that they were giving the Ironclad Assault repair, rearm, and refuel capability, and that there sealed the deal. They were going to put something inside that ship that could get those services and utilize them. So for that fact alone, obviously, I think it was from a marketing standpoint, a really smart idea to do this. I do think they sold quite a few of these. Ultimately, I think snub ships are too expensive without QT drives. I just don't. The $50 price tag is extremely steep. I think that stuff like this should honestly really be in the $15 to $20 price point. And there's an argument to be made they'd sell a lot of them. What was that?
That's cheaper than the yes. That's about the same price as the Great Cat PTV when it was sold.
Yeah, and again, there's I don't know what the data behind the scenes would be like. Maybe if they were much cheaper, CIG would sell twice as many. I really don't know how that maths. But ultimately, snub ships aren't something I recommend to buy. Try to get them in game, or if you got some credit, you can use some credit or whatever. They're not a ship I use new money for at all, for sure.
I guess you Notorious. Do you guys ascribe to the there was a theory, I shouldn't say theory, it was a calculation that the community used to put together, I think even CIG did to a certain degree, of the pricing of ships is based upon guns as well? Is that a factor? Like, what makes this difference between the difference between a P-52, right, which would sell for $30, and then something like this that sells for $50? Do you think it's because of the combat aspects of it is why the prices get hiked up to like a ship price, like the same as a
I would have to think
that's got a quantum drive?
I would have to think so, only because there's nothing else to measure it by. You know what I mean? It's that's kind of the only thing it brings to the party. You know what I mean? So I would assume so. Okay. I could be wrong.
I think that may be part of it. I think the other thing is these are newer ships, and they know that the newer the ship, like as progressing with development goes on, the ship back in the day are cheaper than the ship that we're getting these days, because I don't want to say they're penalizing new backers, but they're giving advantage to the older backers. So I think that's part of it too. The price increase for a newer ship versus the older ship.
I'm just matching it to what other snubs that we have. What's the comparable price? And I'm saying the P-52 and the P-72 are still at their prices. They haven't increased dramatically. So I'm just wondering why, if this is a snub and that's a snub, why does this cost $15 to $20 more?
But those are old. Those are like 10-year-old ships too. So
yeah,
but they've raised prices up for 10-year-old ships.
CIG could, I think this would be silly, but CIG might see value in the fact that this and the Fury are so small that they can fit in multiple ships, and there's more utility there. It is kind of weird thinking, because it's kind of like, so you're charging more for the really small ship. It kind of doesn't make any sense. I don't know where CIG, where their thinking is with that. I mean, sometimes I like to think of this stuff in different sale situations too. So, for example, BioBlight says, "Guys, it's because people will pay $50." That's true.
They're not wrong.
But I will say too that had they had just put the Pitbull out for $50 at a different time of year without the without the Ironclad Assault, would it have done as well? I don't think so. It's hard to know, but I don't think it would. I think there's that synergy there, that hype. We're sort of where you go, oh man, I'm getting this Ironclad Assault. What's another $50? Throw me a Pitbull on there. You know what I mean? Just because I can live out my Drake trailer fantasy. So,
Well, I think part of it is too, though, is if you look back when the Fury was released, it was, you had options for multiple different packs of Fury. You could get a Fury, or you could get Furies, and they realized, hey, people bought these.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And so then they were like, okay, the snub game isn't necessarily dead. It's something, let's find something that we can compromise it to. Okay, we've got Misk. Let's see what Drake's got. They looked at the Ironclad and was like, yep, we could put something small in there. They took the outline of it, made it Drake, added some different weapons to it, stuck it on there, and you can buy multiple of the Pitbulls on the Ironclad, and it's just like, with not having a quantum drive, with having all this other stuff, it's just, for me, it's either you're going to use it as an LTI token, or it's a pass. I'll buy it in game. I can use it to like move people around in ships for things later, but I'm not going to spend $50 on this. Unless I was CCUing up to something.
Oh, speaking of CCU, is it me or does it feel like the CCU game and this Defensecon, or keep on saying Victor, this event is kind of weak this year? Is it? What do you?
There's been some limiting elements that have come into play during this one for sure. I don't know. I think I'd have to. I'm not sure if it's one of you, but I'd have to have the CCU experts probably tell me. I mean, just from someone who doesn't play the CCU game as smart as they should. I've heard a lot of people complain about the CCU stuff. The CCU options this year. So I'm assuming it's had issues. In terms of what was being offered and stuff.
So while we were talking about the Pitbull, I was running a poll on, hey, specifically with the Pitbull, is this a, practical tool, a hanger decoration, or a skip? Twitch, majority of them said skip.
Oh.
YouTube, on the other hand, said it was a practical tool. So
my YouTube community coming through.
Very different communities with different opinions here when it comes to the use of the Pitbull.
Hey, all you Twitchers are jaded. They're all jaded. Hey, that's all it is.
The YouTube logo is
red.
No,
you're the one that said
Drake's
it.
Red.
Flying a Drake, dying a Drake.
That's the problem, because it falls apart and you do die in the Drake because you can't get out of the seat.
Oh, God.
Well, we got other ships to get to, and I want to get to those.
Grim,
yeah.
Before you do.
Yes.
My question for you.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You got to come back with the analytics. How many Pitbulls will fit in a Kraken? That's what you got to work on.
You know what? Someone messed with that.
Really? Oh, my God.
Well, they messed with it with the Fury, and it was hard to tell. Here's what I will say, though. The Kraken has an absolutely massive elevator that comes out of its cargo bay too. It's real big. Okay. It can fit ground vehicles like Novas and all kinds of stuff, like multiple Novas. And it's a huge ground elevator. That plus everything you can fit on the decks, plus the extra small hangars on the. I don't know. I'm honestly thinking it could be over 100.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
If
really?
not, oh yeah. I think without a doubt.
I was thinking 50.
You got to show up like that, man. You just got to show up like that. Just
actually, you know what?
Release the Kraken. That's
we have this tool, Fleet Viewer. Maybe someone
release the Pitbull.
Maybe someone while we're on this show can go to the top view of Fleet Viewer, Kraken and Pitbull. Oh. Give us an estimate of how many is going to fit. Get back to me.
Well, I mean, you got two methods. Either with that is, with the Kraken, you could be like, send in the hive, and they all go out like beasts, or, you pull one of the classic, Mr. Burns and go, release the hounds.
Yeah, we can't
I was going to say let loose the hounds of hell.
Yeah, we can't use hive. We'll be stepping on Beyonce's fan club. That'll get us in trouble.
True, very much so.
Yeah, that'll get us in trouble with the beehive. We'll see. I'm curious. I'm sure someone in chat will figure it out. All right, the next ship. I think you all will like this one. Sea Origin M80. We've talked a little bit about it tonight. Obviously I want to ask you guys, what was your initial thoughts on it, and sort of how do you feel about it against the rest of the heavy fighter lineup? I'll go ahead and get mine out of the way. I'm really split on this ship. I like the look. Don't love the interior, love the exterior. don't like the landing gears, the wheels. It's very much like the Herald to me, only reverse. Where the Herald, I hate the exterior. I love the interior. This ship is that opposite. I love the exterior, hate the interior. It's one of those shit. Like, I understand why this ship is popular, though. I get it. Like, it's very clear why this is a popular ship. We had a lot of entries for it when we did the giveaway. A lot of excitement around this one, and I totally understand why. For me, out of my heavy fighters, like which one I am going to keep, because I've told myself I only have one. I think I'm going to stick with my Scorpius on this one. I think I'm going to stick with my Scorpius with my missile launcher weapon kit on it, so that's soloable. That's where I'm sticking. Even when it doesn't perform great during certain patches and stuff, I still like the look of the Scorpius. I'm sticking with it. I'm going to hand it over to you first, Griff. You're the Origin fanboy.
Oh, ambassador! What do you mean, fanboy ambassador here? What are you talking about? Let's see.
You're like, look, I should be forward with you all. I mean, I'm paid by Origin.
I know. I mean, seriously, one of my things that is part of supporting the project is I buy the Origin ships, right? And so when I saw it, I said, even beforehand, I was like, I'll probably get it. I was a bit surprised, to be honest with you, to the community's reaction to this ship, and maybe it's because Origin has always been kind of like the manufacturer that people kind of go, you know. And I understand it from the aspect of luxury transport. That's still something that is like elusive for a lot of players. And even with the series of ships that we have in the 300 series, 100 series, there's still kind of a to the ships. Yeah. So I was a bit surprised that there was a lot of excitement, but I also see the psychological reasons why. There's a lot of things in this ship, from looking at F-22, F-35, Hornets. I mean, I'm talking real life stuff that triggers in our brains with the design of this ship. Even there were some people who were asking the question about, is it stealthy just because of its design? Yeah. I think it even reflects on some Asian fighters as well. I am like you to a certain degree. The interior, when I went inside, I was like, and I think it was because it wasn't, to me, I almost feel like it was the color palette that messed with me a little bit. Yeah. The red stairs going up, I would have preferred something that was neutral, like a black and chrome, something like that. My buddy Parody said it in the back, it seemed like he was in a brothel. It's just the lighting thing. It was like, there's a way to make things like, even when you look at the 300 series and you go inside of the 315, it's got a style that's kind of nice and clean and contemporary. And I think they just could have went there. I do like the way that they've set up the components that are accessible within. I like that too. I thought that was cool. Yeah, but there's something, I think it's the color palette and stuff that kind of really rubs me a little bit. I'm like you too in relation to the landing gear, the wheels. When I first saw the ship, I said, oh, this thing is bigger than people think, because I saw it was on 3 wheels. And I know Origin has been using wheels on their ships, but I don't know. There's something, it's not that I want skids for this. I don't know what I want for it that would make the landing. Maybe you've got some ideas of what you think would be an alternative, but there's something about those gear. Now, obviously, when the gear are up, the thing is beautiful, right? And I think some of the paints they put out for it are very nice. Some people say, it should have been a Kruger ship. Yeah, I get it. In a way, I get it, right? Yeah. But I do see design elements of Origin in this ship. The cockpit definitely has it, from the panels and everything. In the front, you've got the lighted areas that are similar to the 800, I mean, not 800, the 600i. And there's some other design language in the ship that does reflect Origin. But I do understand why people kind of look at it and see a little bit of Kruger, especially after looking at some of the Kruger concepts that were done for the Wolf. But I also say this. What should Origin have done in ships that is their newest prototype concept in comparison to their old stuff? And this is a push. This is definitely a design push. If they were making literally as a company saying, we're going to make something different, right? Yeah. We're going to step into a different era with our design. So from a lore standpoint, I can get it, but from other standpoints, I can understand why people might feel it doesn't seem like an Origin ship, but to me, it's an Origin ship.
I think sometimes the tricky thing is when you start paying a certain amount of money for a ship, and by the way, no ship is perfect. Every ship has flaws except the Kraken, but every ship has flaws. But regardless, when you get to paying a certain amount of money, and I don't know, that line's going to be different for everybody. For some people, it's over $50. For some people, it's over $5,000 or whatever. But I know for me, when I get to that 300 mark for a fighter, I'm like, man, I really want every part of it to be perfect. You know what I mean? For me.
Yeah.
But I will say the exterior design of this is really, really successful. I do hope, or they do play with this more across other Origin ships. The wheels thing to me is that CIG puts so much effort into their landing gears now. I just thought the wheels looked a little bit almost unfinished, like not fully realized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And now here's the deal, though. If CIG does bring, and John Crew just recently, hey, Pops in Space, CIG or John Crew just recently confirmed this, that they are still planning on doing working landing gears. When ships with landing gears can suddenly roll and stay on the ground and you have that control, the whole conversation changes then. Yeah, and that's kind of interesting.
Agreed.
So, anyone else want to jump in on the M80 thoughts? Fast Cart.
Yeah, for me, we talked about this a little bit before, but I'll try to stick on some new topic. But the price is $270 war bond and $300 RSI credit. I was surprised by that because that's it's $300 at the same price for the F8 Lightning, F8C Lightning, and so I was expecting to be maybe $280 or $290 with RSI credit or in lower war bond. But so having the same price as the F8C Lightning kind of set some expectations for me. So, and what I read the specs of it and everything like that, it was like, oh, it's boom and zoom and not like a tanker, or like, it kind of, I think it's a little bit overpriced, but that's me. The other thing is, we talk about the interior.
Excuse me. It's an Origin ship, and you're saying it's overpriced? Are you hearing what you're saying?
Anyway,
it's a premium price.
No such thing as an Origin ship. No such thing as an Origin ship is an overpriced. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And the interior is missing. You talk about some people mention that the interior looked gaudy because of the red carpet and everything like that. In my opinion, it's missing a disco ball and a pole like Iron Man's personal jet. So if it had those two, I think it'd be great. That'd be an improvement. Yeah. It also had no bathroom, even though it's like. It has a bed but no bathroom, so the amenities is kind of missing for a $300 heavy fighter. So, yeah, I had some feelings about that. And the other thing is, people are forgetting, or seem to once hoping, or maybe it's hoping, I don't know what it is, but it's going to be rebalanced in some point in the future. Like, people are having great fun with it now, because it's like maybe next to the Scorpius, it's the king of heavy fighters for now, but wait a month before you really settled on the fighting aspects.
Yeah, I mean, and heavy fighters have always had that premium, attached to them. Just in general, they're larger ships. They get into that upper range price point. I think so. I do think the people that heavy fighters appeal to, I think that they obviously understand the prices that come along with that. I mean, just like people who like giant, big ships. I mean, we all know CIG isn't going to price those at $150, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think they sold a hell of a lot of these. I would say, I would love to know, but I would say this could be in the running for the most sold ships during this event, not counting the concept sales of the Ironclad that it was able to rack up before release, but just starting sales from this event. This could be number one.
We added it up Sunday on our show, and it was the highest ones of the shows as of Sunday so far. It was like 3 million or something like that. Okay. It was the highest so at that time. Now, who knows how things have crept up since then? Yeah.
Well, there was a couple things with the ship that I liked, and there was a few that I didn't. Apologies, Griffin.
No, feel free.
One, I liked the design on the exterior; it looked good. A little confused on why certain guns were internal, while others were external.
Yes.
Either all or none. Yes. Just make it easier.
Yes.
I would like a little bit more for what I'm paying, even for an interceptor. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a heavy fighter, it is an interceptor. But for what I'm paying, I would have liked to had a few more weapon options on there, even if they were smaller. I felt like kind of was a little lackluster in the weapons district. Again, when you're comparing it to something like the F8C, where you have a lot more weapons, may not be doing as well, but I would have liked a little bit more. The wheel aspect I actually really like because I can definitely see this thing landing and taking off in, the Idris is a very getting lined
Being
up
able to
and getting a
maneuver
fighter.
around, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to get in there and get lined up, especially with that ramp being down and everything else. So having that wheel, having that option to kind of slowly roll that thing in there and roll it right out,
especially with the low overhead.
Absolutely.
I'm going to push back on
lets people smack in the ceiling.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back on Odin a little bit because this is the bigger sibling to the M50, so it had that precedent to fall back on or to live up to. So I mean, having four weapons, I mean, it makes sense to me for being an interceptor and being a boom and zoom ship as opposed to the FAC, which is a tank and have 8 different weapons on it. So
I'll just add 2 points here. Just seeing some of the conversations in chat. One thing I'll say is you have to look at ship purchases in one of 2 ways, or both of these ways, and everyone can fall where they want to on this in terms of that perspective. Some people do look at it as I'm buying a ship, and I would say from that perspective, almost every ship is way too expensive. Like I would openly say that, like extremely overpriced, not worth it at all. The other perspective is to look at it as I'm funding a game that I want to see made that would have never been made otherwise. Then that price point becomes a little bit more ambiguous, or you could be one of those people that does it for both reasons. I want the ship and I want to fund this project. And for that, it starts to feel a little bit more worth it. I can tell you this, I've never bought a really expensive ship just because of the ship. I always have to marry it with that idea that I'm funding a project that no one has ever made before because no one would make it. So there is a little bit of that goes on. Another thing I would say, and this was something mentioned in chat, and it was specifically about the bed in this ship, but it goes to any ship. This is across the board, and even more so for ships like the Idris and stuff that have huge rooms dedicated to beds and all that. I really do hope soon that CIG illuminates us on what those other areas of our ships are going to do in the future. They've started to do that recently with the galleys, talking about how those are going to be resupplied from the cargo grid, and that is going to be that's going to matter. We're going to have this sort of cooking gameplay. I do, which is cool. I love hearing that, but I do want to hear what's their plan with the beds, because they do take up a pretty important amount of room in your ship that could be dedicated for other things. So, again, I hope we get that information soon.
Maybe my view is skewed because I'm looking at my fleet right now, because I fully partake in CCU game. My most expensive ship is the FAC Lightning, $300. I have the Endeavor, but I use CCU game to get that. I have a Brandon Instrument, but I use CCU game to get that. So my most expensive ship is my heavy fighter.
Yeah.
Well, I paid $220 for that with the 20% discount. So if you've got your discount stuff, you can knock that price down without problem.
Yeah. Let's move on. Actually, let's go ahead and we'll ask the question we've asked on all of them. The M80, is it a keeper, a pass, or sorry, is it a keeper or a skip? For me, it's going to be, I'm actually going to say it's a keeper, even though I didn't buy it. I do think there's a lot of good with this ship. A lot of the stuff I don't like about it is really subjective. So I'm going to actually say it's a keeper.
Yeah.
Griff.
Like every ship that comes into every ship that comes into the game, you always have to kind of look at the ship as not what it is now, but what it's supposed to be later. And then you still have to put on top of that hopefully CIG will balance whatever that is later on too. So you buy something based upon what the most information you have. If it happens to be the specs, if it happens to be the design, if it happens to be that you're an RSI fan, whatever makes you happy, go for it. I think that the thing for most of us dinosaurs is, like I said earlier, is it something to spend money on? Is it something, I think, Artorius, you said it earlier, some things are just wait 90 days. You know what I mean? Get it in game. You know what I mean?
Turn it in game,
And I think that there is still that aspect of, it's so easy to forget, are you supporting the project? We get so caught up into, I'm going to buy the ship in that aspect of, but supporting the project gets lost somewhere in there. So if you're supporting the project, you also realize it kind of reminds you of why you're doing this, right? And gives some grace to when things may not be right. But if you're buying it like the consumer that it's working, it's great, and it's hot right now, you set yourself up for disappointment later on. So I think if you don't need a heavy fighter, don't buy it. If your fleet already says, I got heavy fighters, just later on, check it out later. It'll be around. It's not going anywhere. The FOMO for me is a dead issue if you've been around here more than 5 years. So you shouldn't be going through FOMO anymore. You know how the game is played. You know how nerfing happens. Don't come crying about that stuff later. You know what happened. So just breathe, take a breath, keep your wallet in your pocket. Unless it's something that you really, really want, you want to support the project, then toss your money in.
Everyone, we have about 1 minute left, and the giveaway is going to close. I will do the drawing after it closes, but while we're waiting on that minute and a half to tick by, Fast Cart, thoughts on the M80? Is it a pass or a keep?
I agree with what both of you said so far. I'll add, if you have the skills for the M80, go ahead and get it, or wait 90 days and get it in game. I don't have the skills. I'm not a boom and zoom. I'm not an agile fighter. I am a jouster, or I prefer to tank the hits and try to kill you, and I outlast you while I hit you. So the FAC is more my style. But if you can fly it and fly it well, go for it.
Yeah. Art, I'm going to skip you for the sake of time. That's all right.
It's reasonable.
I'm going to get your opinion.
I'll just add the fact that Fast Card is welcome to turret any one of my capital ships anytime.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We'll
Sweet.
do that. Yeah.
But I'm going to get you on these other ships. Let's move on to the MISC Starlight. Obviously, the new starter refueling ship coming in during a sort of combat-focused event, but it was nice to see some stuff that wasn't combat-focused. We got a little bit of that with the Ironclad base as well, obviously. But starter refueler, the big thing with this that I think that slapped everyone in the face in a good way was that price point coming in shockingly low. I think I estimated it was going to be double what it came in at. So I was really taken back. I thought it was going to be about $100 or so. But I'm going to hand it over to you. I'll start with you, Fast Cart. Thoughts on the MISC Starlight? What's your opinion on this?
Yeah, like I said before, I was expecting it to be 90 Warbond, 100 on-site credit, but it's half that. So I'm colorfully impressed. But I think it's a great starter ship. Maybe they might want to make a package, like a fueler package for it later on. I don't know if they're going to do that, but it's probably in the card. It's not for me. It's not my game style. It's not something I'm interested in. But for people who do like refueling, I'm happy for them that they got it. It seemed like a great ship.
Yeah.
As far as the design language and everything like that, the prod, what do you call it? The fueling prod comes out at the odd base, but I guess I can allow it because it's a starter ship, you know. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Griff, thoughts on the Starlight?
You know, I haven't had an opportunity to take it out yet. I've just seen it, and I've seen a couple videos on it.
It looks
Captain
better in game.
Loxy, yeah, Captain Foxy Loxy's been burning the midnight oil like crazy.
He has, yeah.
Videos.
He's been doing some great videos on this ship.
He has. He's been really churning them out. And when I got a chance to see the ship, I went inside, walked around, looked at it. But I think when I first saw the picture, unlike Fast Card, I figured it was going to be in that category of these starter career ships. So I thought it would be around $50 or $60 based upon ships like the Golem and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that they don't have the refining capabilities on this ship, and of course the extra volume of what you can carry. If you think about when the Starfarers first came out, they were like 200 or something like that. I forget what the Starfarer was when it first came out, but I think it's a good entry point. For some people, they still feel that these starter career ships aren't practical.
Yeah.
I think that that's because we forget that there are players who come to Star Citizen that want to do a particular thing, and they don't want to start in a generalist ship. They want to start out doing that thing that they want to do. They'll buy a Golem if they want to be mining, and they'll do that with the prospect of moving forward over time. And I think that's what all starters are about. So I think it's a great ship that MISC put together. I know that there's some fuel balancing. CIG's already been doing fuel balancing with this ship, because my understanding was you just went out one time and fueled something up, and all the fuel was already used up. There's going to be more balancing over time with ships and everything else. So I think that's just a matter of time that things will get tweaked. Whether you can fuel 1 fighter, 2 fighter, 3 fighters, we'll see what happens over time. But I haven't had a chance out the new fueling mechanic yet because I'm excited to try that. But I did go and see that they did change out everything on the Starfarer too. So the Starfarer has the new mechanics in it as well. So yeah, we'll see.
Cool. Real quick, and Art, I know you were saying, is poll time? Is that what you were saying? Okay. Real quick, everyone, the giveaway did end. The winner is Velocity 7. Velocity 7 on Twitch. All you got to do is whisper or send me a friend request and get in contact with me on Discord, StarJump_Grim. I'll do some confirmation behind the scenes to get you all set up, and do appreciate everyone testing this new giveaway system with me tonight. It's not perfect. I want to mess with it a little bit more, but it does have some nice features on it that make things a little bit more streamlined. So we'll see. Maybe we use it, maybe we don't. But yes, Velocity 7, you won the Red Line bundle giveaway. So just hit me up on Discord. Just hit me up on Discord. Okay. Art, thoughts on the Starlight, or do we want to do this poll thing? What's the poll?
So the poll's already going.
Okay.
Because while you guys talk, I just throw things out.
There you go.
Get ready because this is the new me. You give me more power, so I'm doing more fun
yes,
things.
That's true.
So the poll was, would you run refueling missions? So I'm going to let that keep rolling for a few more minutes. But first thing is, CIG made me sick with this freaking trailer. It was so cute. It was so
it was pretty cute.
It was just like, I was like, come on, like this is Defensecon, and you gave us this. I was kind of disappointed though, because with mining and everything else, we've always had a pack with that, and we didn't get one with this. And I was a little disappointed in that. I think it would have been a good opportunity to add the game to it, push it up, that $10, whatever, to equal having the game. I think it was quite a huge missed opportunity for people to come in and actually just do refueling.
Thank you, Poutine.
But it's just it's so. I mean, it's a fueler. It's not my cup of tea, but if it makes people happy, great. And also, they didn't do a Tibberon trailer, so if I have to watch this, then I suppose it'll be okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm just checking something really quick here, everyone. So what do we
I hate
think?
to ask you this, Artorias, were you just looking for like the Starlight to come out and hook up and then boom, it blows up?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna I would have loved to have seen, something where there had been a battle and
it came rushing in, it did something
and then the ship is kind of jumps away to get away, and it gets stuck just a little bit out, and it can't help, you've got all these friends being like, hey, we need backup, and the ship just can't make it. This little Starlight comes out and just plugs up to it, gives a quick salute, and off it goes. And it was just no, this was hey, you're a hauler, and you have poor management of your ship because you let it run out of fuel. But that's okay. My ship's going to do a whole spin thing before I even refuel you, just to be extra cute too.
Yeah.
Well,
he kind of waved at him. He kind of waved at him.
Do you get extra payment for that? I mean, do you get paid more?
You get a better rating.
If you do a show?
Personal rating.
You get better tip.
See, now
I judge. My thing is, I wish they would have shown the ship as it was running out of fuel. I don't know if you remember Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Remember when the Excelsior ran out of power? I want to hear something like that in game. So that feel like a missed opportunity.
For me, I judge any ship, especially an industrial ship, on its ability to be carried by the Kraken. This is a smaller ship. It could fit right on the deck. It's a winner for me. Did not think I was going to buy this ugly thing, and ended up picking one up. I
don't think it's that ugly, in my opinion. I don't think it's that
here's
ugly.
the thing. Its teaser image that CIG put out, I thought was so ridiculous because of the low angle shot of its Jay Leno chin. Yeah. But once you saw it, I know in game it looks a lot better, a lot better. It's got some nice paints actually. It's got some decent paints. They did a good job.
I'm trying to picture the J Leno chin. But
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. There was a lot of jokes going on about this shit. All right. Let's go to the next one, and one that was expected and still very surprising, I think, to a lot of people, and that is the Aegis Tibberon. This, of course, being the Hammerhead-related ship, not technically a variant, but this Hammerhead-related ship that traded out the turrets for different turrets and slapped a big old size 10 supremacy laser beam weapon on the front. So, the question regarding this one is, how does everyone feel about the Tibberon? What's your initial reaction? But I think you can sort of couple that with how do you feel about this ship coming with a size 10 beam weapon? What's your thoughts on that? Just in terms of the broader spectrum of weaponry on ships. Because in many ways for me, this is one of those tricky ones where it's sort of putting a capital weapon on a non-capital ship. That's kind of how I look at it. That's not necessarily always a bad thing, but I do think at the very least, it's something to have a conversation about. Much in the way that you take, for example, an Eclipse, which can carry a size 10 torpedo. Now it can only carry, was it one or two of them? But it can carry that capital scale weapon, but at a much smaller capacity, much smaller capacity than, say, something like the Polaris. With our Tibberon here, still firing a bespoke size 10, but at least in my testing, I was able to do prolonged fire for quite a while in this thing. But yeah, I'll open it up. Actually, Art, I'm going to let you go first on this one. What's your thoughts on the Aegis Tibberon? Mr. Combat Fleet guy.
You're not going to like this.
Oh,
you're not going to like this at all.
Be careful. I got this shit. Be careful.
I know. Honestly, I'm going to say that I think this was somewhat of a bait and switch. Unfortunately, yeah. I think the information we got with it being a size 10, a lot of people, us included, and I know Jen and Thomas is going to be the first one to yell bespoke weapon. They're going to toot it themselves.
Let's see who from CIG is watching. Art doesn't speak for all of us.
But my thing is this is, we were thinking it was going to be a really powerful ship, and it's really kind of not. And I'm a little kind of disappointed for the price tag that I was paying for that. It was kind of like, yeah, it could take shields down, but it's in a much smaller capacity. The size 7s are a single cannon.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You put this up against a Perseus toe to toe. Perseus is going to win every time. Perseus can outmaneuver this ship. And I think it was one of those things like they were like, how can we get people to buy this? Well, like, we'll say it's a size 10 gun. When honestly, you could have described this as a size 8 or a size 9 being a stretch.
So you think the size 10 part of this is a little bit of a marketing thing?
Yep,
okay.
I do.
Okay. Well, let me ask this though, and then I'll go to Fast Cart and Griff. But do you think? Okay, this is let's assume then this is more like a size 8 or a size 9 on this ship. Does that make it any less than what would be expected normally? I mean, I think we're like for me, for example, I was thinking the Tibberon would have a size 8 laser on it or a size 9 at the most. And I was even doubtful of size 9. I originally thought size 8. So let's say it's just 10 in name only. Is there a place for this ship with a size 8 or some odd equivalent laser? Is there a place for it?
Yeah, I mean, pairing this with a Perseus and stuff like that to kind of use to do, kind of bursty damage. It's not a sustained damage ship. This isn't like, the Idris put the laser on it, hold on it, and try to melt, going through this. It doesn't do that well. I think part of it, is that damage difference. But, if you paired it with other kind of similar capital class or sub-capital class ships, I think it would do well. I know we're looking to use it for TSG as well, to kind of test it out and see what we think of it. But again, I think the big thing was a lot of people were excited to buy this because it said size 10, and they were expecting Idris firepower, and you're not getting Idris firepower by any standard.
Yeah. Someone mentioned, I think in another discussion I was having, that they were like, oh man, maybe this is a signal actually that the Idris is going to actually go up in name to balance this out, and maybe that was CIG's plan all along. Like maybe the beam weapon is going to go up to more like a size 11 or 12 or however they want to name it. I don't think that's going to happen or anything, but I will say that when this was labeled size 10, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so we're getting an Idris beam. At the time, I thought it was the Idris weapon. I'm like, so we're getting the Idris weapon on a large ship. That's interesting. That's going in a weird direction. So sounds like that may not be the case. But Griff, what do you think? What's your thoughts on the Tibberon?
Ooh, I'm going to make some people mad.
Make them mad.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think that there's often, sometimes there are parallels when CIG puts out a ship that reminds people of another ship. You know, the big comparison that came out with this ship was the Hammerhead. And because the Hammerhead has not been in the best place, I think that automatically makes people kind of hopeful for whatever this next thing is, that maybe they've got it right or they built it better or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But then again, if the Hammerhead was working excellently, you may still get that same feeling from folk. But I know there was a lot of comparisons with the Hammerhead. And of course, I think to Arturius's point, as soon as people heard beam weapon, you know, imaginations got lit up. One of the things I try to pay attention to, and sometimes it's marketing, but then there are other times when I have to say, no, this is how they presented the ship. When the Ares series came out, Crusaders Ares series came out, people were talking about this ship being a sniper and a spy. But when you watch the video, the whole video for that showed how it strategically attacked capital ships by taking out their radar systems. It wasn't out there sniping fighters and all this other stuff. When you watch this video for this ship, they show up with 3 of them.
That's true.
And they're working collaboratively together with those laser beams. There's not this solo effort on a ship like this. So when I see a ship like this, it's like when these jokers warp in, if I see 3 of these jokers come in and they're all locking onto somebody, you got problems. If I see 1 lock in, maybe. Now, I've also heard people talking about whether or not, it's no good against fighters. Why are you even thinking about shooting at fighters with this thing? This thing is for going after the Polarises, the Idrises, those ships that are moving slowly, that cannot move, or that you can lay that beam on them and wear them out, whether it's wearing out a gun section or whatever. I do agree with you about the size 10 aspect. I would have probably wanted to see something more like I think Arturius said it, like a size, or you'd said it, a size 8 or 9, and then collaboratively working together. But I still think these ships, if you look at the Squadron 42 big trailer thing, when it first opens up and we get all the music and stuff, the Hammerheads are escorting folks. They're not leading the fight. You know what I mean? These ships are designed to be support of other major caps. And I understand why players get them and they take them, let's go get on the Hammerhead and go do them. So, and that's because that's what we have to do right now. But again, it's about what are these ships? How meaningful are they later when your org is going into fights? These ships are going to be really important to keep folks off of your caps, that you don't lose those capital ships, whether it's a Hammerhead, whether it's this ship. So I understand why people may feel a certain way about it right now. I've been hearing people talking about this comparison of whether they're going to get rid of their Perseus for this and vice versa and all that. But again, think about what the role of the ship is. I know we get excited about, the marketing of it, but in that commercial, you watch it, it's 3 of those jokers that come in and start working, know. So that's my 2 cents on this particular ship.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think again that it's someone was saying this in a chat channel today. I think it's 100% true. A single person in a Tibberon might be useful. A single person in a Perseus may not be near as useful. However, a fully crewed Perseus is still probably the better way to go. Obviously, the Tibberon being pretty susceptible to fighters and missiles and stuff like that. But Fastcart, thoughts on the Tibberon?
Can I throw one more thing too? By
do.
the way, I'm sorry. I love the exterior design. I was slightly disappointed that when I went inside, it looked too much like the Hammerhead. Even if the color palette had been a little bit different. As soon as I went inside, I felt like the work hadn't happened on the inside. But on the outside, I love the new design of what they did of this ship.
Yeah. I agree. Fastcart, thoughts on the Tibberon?
when Griff started talking about the Ares, I thought I was fearful that he was going to steal my what I was going to go for, but he went a different way with it. But when the Ares first came out, it had a size 7 weapon. It still has a size 7 weapon. People complain about, oh, the weapon is too big for a heavy fighter. Oh, what do you mean it has a bespoke size 7 weapon on it? So it's similar arguments and similar complaints as when the Ares come out. It feels similar to me at least. But as you found out later, the Ares got nerfed to hell. It got nerfed to oblivion. So I'm not saying what's going to happen with the Tibberon, because as Griffin said, you need 3 of those suckers in order to take down one of the other ships. So maybe they learned that lesson with the Ares when they put the size to the weapon on it. So yeah, that's that point. And all I gotta say is, don't put that beam weapon in my hand. I'll probably miss or do something. I'll take a missed opportunity. I'll be happy to be a turret gunner, but I don't want to have that weapon in my hand.
We'll get you guys trained up just right. It ain't.
I think
are those size 7s on the turrets? Are those size? What size are those turrets?
Seven, but they're bespoke. So another thing that I don't like about it is, give me the options. Let me have some options with the turret. And by locking me into 7s with only the rear being able to have a different type of turret on there, a different type of cannons on there, or it just kind of like, I get it, it's anti-cap and that's fine, but it's like, give me some options, give me something that I can kind of play with. When you bespoke a lot of ships like this, it kind of only leaves 1 or 2 avenues to kind of play them.
Yeah,
I really do think we're heading that way in Star Citizen, though, especially for weapons that are almost like integral to the ship's specific role, and or are the most dominant weapon platform on said ship. So, for example, we're seeing that with the Kraken, with its size 8 main turret looking like it could be going up in size, but it's obviously bespoke. The bespoke laser beam here, the bespoke size 7s here. We're starting to see that more and more and more. And again, I think it is simply because CIG knows the incredibly difficult task they have ahead of them in the 1.0 environment of balancing this game. And it's going to be a hell of a lot easier for them to balance it if every ship has weapons that can be tuned individually, because then they're tuning the ship and not the weapon class across the board. Because just tuning that weapon class doesn't account for how much armor a ship has, or how it plays with Maelstrom, or whatever other issues it has. So, Fast Cart, you have something?
Yeah, I had one more point to make. It won't fit in the Kraken, so there's no way Grum will like it. But that's all I wanted to say.
That's true.
It might fit on the deck. It might. Maybe.
I've looked at its wheelbase, or its landing gear base. This one's a solid. I don't know. The Perseus you can land on the deck of the main deck of the Kraken. You do have to land it in reverse, but it will land. This one though, it's got those real wide legs. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. I may have to go. This ship might get melted immediately just based off that alone. So it's very possible. Okay. What else to talk about on this one? Here's another one. Let's stay on Aegis for a minute. Was anyone surprised that we didn't see the Javelin come? I know there was some talk maybe about the Javelin coming for this event when we thought it was maybe half Defensecon, half Invictus. I was one of the ones that, I didn't say it was coming. I said I think it was possible that it could come if CIG wanted it to, because based off what I have looked at on the interior of the Javelin, because I have looked at the full interior. I actually have the full interior. It's there. It's all there. Obviously, there's the modular rooms, which 2.5 years ago, John Cruz said they were going to work on. And I think in the model I have, the only other room that's not like modeled is the actual torpedo loading room. But everything else on the interior is there. So I was really thinking, it's possible it could come. Maybe that's going to be the thing. But it didn't. And I think we're still on track for it post-Squadron. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't they say something about that it wasn't going to come?
It wasn't. It's not coming 2026.
Yeah, I think that's what killed it for me, because I thought maybe it was too. But when I heard that, I was like, okay, well, that's done deal.
Yeah. I mean, and it could have stuff to do with just optimization of the ship for the PU and stuff like that. I mean, the javelins we've got in game have not been like fully done. So it could have a lot to do with that. I know I've seen some people in chat even tonight say that probably even half of the javelin's interior is not finished. I can tell you that probably like 95% of the javelin's interior is done and has been done for a long time. Now, that's not to say CIG is not going to do some extra work to it, like put some engineering consoles and stuff in it, but the interior of the javelin's been done for a long time. So just as a heads up there for those javelin fans. Okay, last thing on Aegis. Does the Tibberon excite you? Because it's been a while since we've gotten a large Aegis ship. The last Aegis ships we got that we got were the Saber, the Peregrines, and the Firebirds. But to see in the Tibberon, does it excite you for more large Aegis ships like well, obviously the Javelin's down the road, but the Nautilus, another concept ship around that 120 meter mark that we have not seen yet. Any thoughts on that?
Don't mention the Nautilus around Griff.
Yeah, I have a love-hate for that ship. I mean, I'm so curious about. I'm very curious about the gameplay for it more than anything. I mean, I was excited for it when it was announced, and it's sitting in my melt. It's still there. I just
you better get it out. You never know.
Well, if it's gone, it's gone, right? But I honestly, I just kind of am curious to see. It's another one of those ships. It's not a solo thing, and some ships I buy based upon my participation in an org. And then there are other ships that I buy for myself. And that is definitely my org-related kind of ship. So I'm excited. But, of course, drones and all the other stuff have got to be a factor for that. As far as Aegis goes, I think they have fleshed out a tremendous amount of really good ships for their fleet. I think that a lot of us have been looking for Anvil to be the one that step up. And I think that with the Odin, that's it. Because the biggest thing they had was the Liberator. And so people have been calling for quite a while that the next big cap would fall into that category of Anvil. So I think Aegis sits in a good spot, for where they are right now. And of course, if the Nautilus comes, then great.
I would say that I would like CIG to do with Aegis what they've done with Drake, which is sort of shift the lore of the company. The Aegis was obviously the Messer era dominant UE manufacturer. The Messer era is over. I would love to, and now Anvil's the new rising star. I would love to see to see Aegis do almost an in-lore sort of shift in direction for their brand, where sort of like what Drake is, where they went from pirate manufacturer pretty much to now we're for the people, where the people's shipment, and do that with Aegis, where Aegis starts to do really weird, interesting takes on maybe large combat stuff. So maybe they come out with maybe it's a Corvette competitor, something to compete against the Polaris, but they do it in a slightly different way. I think Anvil would be interesting to play in that regime as well, and I think they will have to do that to build up the kit for the Odin. But I would love to see CIG shift that lore for Aegis into kind of an interesting place, you know what I mean, for the future, where maybe Aegis is sort of trying to change their reputation and stuff. So we'll just have to see. All right, let's move on to the next ship I want to talk about, and that is our last concept ship. Oh, real quick. Info Runners just rated with a party of 72.
Nice.
Execute, Algrid. Hope you had a great show. Thank you very much. Execute, I usually don't stream on Friday nights. I don't want to step over the Info Runners, but this show was scheduled. It's been scheduled for a bit. So
you know what that means? That's we haven't done one at all. I think it's bean worthy.
Probably a night for a bean. So thank you very much, Execute and Algrid, for that raid. I do appreciate you. Do appreciate it. We're going to do one of our beans here. We've raised a lot of money. So far, we've raised $55,164 for the month of April and May of this year. So thank you very much, everyone. Lifetime StarJump is pushing $95,722. Obviously, beautiful. Shout out to Dadbod or Ender for that as well, and the work he's done. Everyone, I got my bean. Art just turned off his camera, so you know what that means. Mine's either pomegranate or old bandage.
Of course it is.
This is for
of course
you
it
all.
is.
Yeah.
Mine is either let's see, a dead fish or a strawberry banana smoothie, and I've not had a good record when it comes to dead fish
Algrid.
or strawberry banana smoothie.
None of those are going to be good for you. None of those are going to be good for you. Algrid,
No.
hope you're well, buddy. Thanks for the raid. Execute, thank you for the raid as well. Bottoms up. Here we go. We're doing a bean for the kids.
I don't know how y'all do it. I couldn't.
Yeah, you got to tell us where you get those from. Please tell us where you can get those from, because I'm gonna start using those with Soul Citizens.
No. But vetoed.
Amazon.
As a co-producer, vetoed.
It's an Amazon order. Here's the thing.
It is. What are they called?
Bean Boozled.
Bean Boozle.
Bean Boozled.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now. Thank you.
No. Execute likes them. Execute will eat the hell out of him, but he's also from the down under, and
Execute's from another planet.
They eat Vegemite and all kinds of stuff. I can't, he likes it. He'll eat it as a snack, but it is not great. I definitely got Old Bandage. It's not great.
Bean Boozled.
It's not the worst one, but it's not great.
Yeah, dead fish in the nasal cavity. Not a fan.
Yeah, not great. And I've got kind of a fruit drink I'm drinking here, and it doesn't mix well. It's not a good mix.
My caffeine choice for the day was the blue raspberry Jolly Rancher.
Oh, good.
Also,
yeah, that's what you want.
not a great choice.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Really? That does not blend well at all.
Everyone from the Info Runners community, thanks for popping over and hanging out. Hopefully you'll continue to hang out with us a little bit. I'm sure we're talking about a lot of the same stuff, actually, but big shout out to those guys. Do appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talking about the next ship here, and that is the Anvil Odin. We're talking about the Anvil Odin, the last concept ship CIG will release. Anvil battle cruiser. We're expecting on the 24th, so on Sunday, we're supposed to get another SCL or whatever CIG is calling it. That's going to show a full walkthrough of the Odin. They're going to talk a lot about it, walk through a lot of the rooms. For a ship of this price, I do hope that it's a pretty thorough pullback of the curtain. And not just like a 15-minute segment. I hope it's a good 45-minute discussion, not only about this ship, but its future role, what CIG even sees ships like this being used for. I would love for them to talk a little bit about, and I'm not sure they will, because it's just the ship team and not the gameplay people, but like, I'd love to know if this is the type of ship that we're going to be able to build in the future in our own dry docks and stuff and everything. So big ship. $5,000 war bond or 5,900 store credit. So pretty monstrous price. CIG just ran a Founders Club essay, Show Your Interest program, which has been without controversy. No, obviously pretty controversial. And emails just went out the other day inviting particular people who did the essay to potentially be able to grab an Odin. So with that kickoff, I'm going to hand it over to whoever wants to talk first. Fast Cart.
I have a quick question. Is that so on Sunday? Is that an SCL or ISCL? You don't know.
I think it's an SCL. Yeah, I think it's an SCL.
Okay, so if it's SCL, then yeah, 45 minutes. I can see it being 45 minutes. If it's ISC type or behind the ship, yeah, 15 minutes. Okay, so yeah, you should have a good bet that it'd be 45 minutes. That's what I wanted to add. But I'm wondering whether or not. Well, I mean, since it's going to be SCL, it probably won't matter as much. But I'm hoping for an Odin trailer just to see how potentially could be in action when it comes out. But we don't know how much work has been done on it so far, so maybe that's not in the card. But I think that would be cool. For me, I did not participate in the essay. I was tempted to do it just for the title of being an Odin founder, but I knew I wasn't going to put money into it, so I decided to let other people who were going to put money into it to take that chance. But I did want that title of Odin founder, but I can live without not having gotten it. But other than that, for the price, I thought it was going to be cheaper, but it's price, size, and volume as the other ships. So yeah, the price, I can see it. I mean, I don't have too much issue with it. It's $900 between war bond and store credit. I think that's a bit much, but it's the last concept and it's the biggest ship that players can own. So, $900. I don't know. My question is, how many people are going to be melting the whole fleet in order to get this thing on the other side credit? And some people may have to wait until like the 5th or 6th wave before they have to put into the F5 war in order to get it. But a lot of people won't be that patient, or may not have the ability to wait that long because the real life stuff. So we'll have to see. Hopefully, it won't be too painful for people who want it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how much money they make.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to hit $1 billion when the thing goes on sale. So that'll be something to see.
Griff, what do you think? What's your thoughts on the Odin?
Well, I actually like the Odin. I again, we get into the dynamic of design and looking at Anvil. To me, it is a contemporary design for this particular ship. I know there's been some concerns or questions about it having a quote unquote conning tower. But I also would say that one of the reasons why I do like it is that they took a different direction with this. When we look at the Aegis ships and the other large ships, they all have this kind of comm area, this control area that's usually, just above the bulk basic hull of the ship. This one takes it differently. And so I'm glad to see that it's not just some flat ship, to be honest with you. And the fact that it also has depth below it is another factor. It is a large ship. When I went up to the tower at R-Corp and looked at the hologram, when you first see it, you kind of think it's almost the same as when other ships have been docked there, until you realize that those ships were actually docked right up against the tower. This thing is set out several hundred meters away from it.
Yeah.
And in fact, when you're in orbit getting ready to land at Area 18, you can see this thing. It's huge. I thought the price point was going to actually be $4,500 war bond and maybe $5,000 cash. But most of the people that I talked to or heard said they thought it was going to be $5,000. So I don't think it was a surprise at that number. I heard some people talking $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. I thought that would not be a good marketing thing for CIG to jump to a price like that, even though you have games like Star Atlas that sell ships for $1 million in cash. I just felt that was just going to be too much. So I think it lands in an interesting place. I am,
so far since I've joined, all I've heard is that you like curvy women. That's all I've heard so far.
The $5,000 thing, though, for me, I'm very curious. I know people who own 2, 3, 4 javelins. So I don't think it's always going to be people who are going to melt. I think there are going to be people who genuinely have the accessible money that have been, and I know people who've been actually talking about, Admiral Kusanagi's been talking about the battlecruiser for years, wondering where it is. So there are people who have known that a ship like this would come. It was just a matter of when. So sure, there are going to be some people that might melt a couple things, but there are going to be some people who literally drop $5,000 in cash to get this thing. And some of them are going to get it just for the sake of having it. That's it. Just the fact that this is the epitome of what they can get in the game. Other folks will get it because of their org, all that stuff.
And to me, is it expensive? Absolutely. But again, I always counter it next to many other things. I mean, there's $45,000 game packages sold for this game. Yeah. So for me, in like the grand scheme of things, I just kind of went, yeah, it's expensive. It's a spaceship, expensive spaceship. I didn't really think about it as like, oh, this is outrageous or anything, because I'm like, there's other stuff in Star System that costs just as much. And it's really just, okay, do you want a bunch of smaller ships? Do you want the big giant battle cruiser, whatever? So the only other thing I would say, and Execute joined us in chat here, but the only other thing I would say is that there's still speculation around a feature that this ship brings to the game that we do not know about yet. We see that it's a big ship. We see that it's got a lot of big guns. But CIG has made more than enough comments that this ship is going to bring something truly exciting to the game that we kind of haven't seen before. So we're going to find that out on Sunday, and then that's really going to shine a light on that price tag and say, oh, okay, that's why this thing costs this much. I've heard everything from people speculating that the bottom half of the ship there, where that lower turret is, disconnects and is another ship. I've heard everything that this thing is going to be able to send out massive flat clouds. I've literally heard all kinds of features that it could bring to the table, you know?
The best one I've heard is it can make its own transient jump points.
I've heard
my favorite one.
I've heard that one, which is super cool. Like if it had the ability to sort of open up jump tunnels, that would be crazy, right? I mean, and again, something disruptive like that we don't have yet does excite people. You know what I mean? I mean, who knows? Maybe this thing can deploy mines. Maybe it can, I mean, we really don't know what it, maybe it's got giant drones the size of a carrot that can come out and just slap you in the face. We really don't know. But obviously, I think that's what everyone's sort of waiting on, is because here's the thing. And I think this would affect my opinion on the ship. If it's just a bigger Javelin, like if that's really all it's bringing to the table, I go back to the same argument that people have against multi-crew now, where they say, why take the one big ship and not take the 8 fighters? You know, I would go to sort of that with this. Why take the battlecruiser when you can take 3 Javelins? You know what I mean? So that argument comes up again, just at a different scale, unless this brings something truly new into the game that, oh, okay, the only way you can get access to that is through the battlecruiser. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A couple of small points.
Go ahead.
I've been a backer since 2014. I had completely forgotten about the battlecruiser until Disco Orlando mentioned it last year, at the end of the year. So it was like, oh, okay, cool. But can you imagine what the new Legatus pack will have to cost in order to accommodate this and all the new ships? I don't know. It's $49,000 or $42,000 now. The Legatus pack. Anyone know?
I don't know with all the new stuff.
It'll just go up by $5,000. Just add $5,000 to it.
Oh no, not just $5,000. You got to add the other new ships that come out.
All the new ships.
Yeah, all the new ships. So
I can tell you, Algrid used to buy the upgrade pack all the time, right? But now they include every armor that came out that year. So a lot of the Legatus people don't buy it anymore because it's not worth it. Because they want you to buy literally everything that came out that year.
A white light says 48K. So thank you for that white light.
Yeah, but why would you want to buy every single piece of armor in red, blue, yellow, and green? Like it's just not worth it. So a lot of the Legatus people don't buy it anymore.
And the last point I wanted to make was, Graham, I'm sorry to say, this will not fit on the Kraken.
It won't, which immediately brings it down a notch, right? Someone said, you know, when the letters first went out, I didn't get one in like for the first 12 hours that they had sort of been released, the letters. And I actually full on wrote an essay. I did the full essay thing. And I didn't like send them a picture of my feet or anything, you know. But the funny thing is that it really didn't bother me. I didn't get a letter. I was just like, whatever. And someone was like, I can't believe, Grim, you didn't get a letter. How do you feel about that? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. My Kraken comes next year. I'm totally fine. Yeah, the game's over for me. I win next Defensecon. Game over. I win. I beat everybody. No, so I obviously I'm joking, but I mean, for me, my dream ship's coming. So I wasn't as tied up emotionally into it.
Grim, show the image. Come on, show the image.
Where,
you know what?
The one you sent?
I sent you an image.
Yes, I'll show it.
Show the image, because that is nail in the coffin territory for people that wrote essays.
It's true. But here's the thing. I mean, there's been lots of people that wrote emails essentially saying, hey, I do not want to be considered. Do not give me a battlecruiser. And then they got in. And I think that, obviously, that goes back to the thing that we all suspected, that the essays were simply a way to funnel the demand, right? To funnel the demand.
Psychologically check out people to make sure that they wanted it, and to essentially flag you in the system, so then they can check your account and filter for how much you've spent, shit like that.
True. Here's another thing too I was thinking about, and I think this could have something to do with it. it's bad enough when you try to make a purchase of a $1,000 ship or a $500 ship and the website, or like some sort of hull limited ship and the website crashes and this, that, and the other. I don't think a lot of people would feel very good about website crashes when they're trying to make a $6,000 purchase or a $5,000 purchase. And I could see that filtering, maybe helping with the website, upstate and giving people a little bit more confidence that, oh, wait a minute, did my purchase go through? Like, what the hell just happened? The website just errored out, and not knowing if you just got hit with a massive charge. So I could see I could see it being a lot of little things coming into play. Now, that being said, obviously controversial that that the ship had any, some sort of essay thing going along with it at all. And the fact that some people that wrote essays that said, I don't want it, got in, right? So I think obviously that's problematic. I don't really know what the solution is there, though. I mean, lots of companies try gatekeeping releases of new products, whether it's GPUs. I'm just going to tell you right now, I was one of the first people, I was one of the people that was trying to be first at getting a 5090, and the way 5090s were sold makes CIG's process look like the best process ever made. Okay, and these are established multi-trillion-dollar companies over here. I mean, why can't Nvidia come up with a way to sell 5090s in a smart way? Nope, they did. They just you threw them in the wind and let people it's like birds coming and going after bread that had been thrown out. And it was just a disaster. I mean, I had one in my cart and even paid for it, and it still errored out, and it didn't actually charge me for. So weird. But I'm just saying that I don't know what all systems CIG could do to make the perfect purchasing scenario. There's always going to be people that get in that can purchase it that don't want it, that are just going to sell the account. There's always going to be people that write essays that have no intention of purchasing it. They just want to try that entry process. So I don't know if there's a perfect mechanism. Hopefully CIG learns from these as they do them to make better paths in the future. But obviously nothing would be perfect. Space Pumpkin Dave says CIG needs to give us a payment plan for these expensive ships. So Anvil layaway.
No, I'm doing that in game because I have 30,000 Alpha UEC now. So when I want to get more ammo for my ship, I have to put the ammo on layaway. So yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah,
for me anyway.
For me, I melted my Idris, my K kit, my T kit, and my Javelin, and that gave me essentially the credit to try to get this. And if I get it, I'm probably going to put it right back into buybacks, which I know is risky, may eliminate it and then I'm just going to probably get my Javelin back at that point. The Idris I melted and I'm fine with melting. It's not the ship for me, but I'm happy to crew an Idris. A lot of people got Idrises. So let me ask this, because we have a couple Odin talking points. And obviously I think a lot of this will come out when we get the video, but why do these ships exist? Why do we even need a battle cruiser in this game? Not necessarily for you specifically, but why do ships like this and the Javelin need to be in the game, in your opinion?
For me, I go first. This one, like I said before, it's a funding goal that they had for 64 million, but they had one of the earlier funding goals, so they had to put this in the game. But since this was going to be put in the game, they had to put a fleet of ships around it so that it wouldn't be just the biggest ship. So that's my excuse. And also, I guess from a lore perspective, it kind of makes sense because if this is the battle cruiser, you got to have a battleship and you got to have other ships of the fleet that can fit around it. So each one has to have its role and serve a purpose, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, anyone else got any thoughts on that?
I wish Serious Fun was here because he came up with a statistic. And the statistic was if there were 5,000 of these ships in the game, it barely puts a dent into how many ships there actually are in the universe, because all 5,000 are not in the game at any, at the same time, right?
Yeah,
People at different times and everything. So my question has been, from the early days when we looked at ships like particularly the Idris, the Javelin, those were the two ships that we definitely knew. And the back in the day when what's the big one? The Bengal carrier was going to be something that you found in space and put back together, right? In those days, when we looked at the numbers, what they talked about how many players they looked at as a minimum and max for these ships, we were seeing numbers from 40 to 80 people. But we've seen those numbers kind of pull back a little bit, right, into something that's a little bit more practical. And even when you look at a ship, as you mentioned earlier, Grim, fully crewed, what does that mean? When a ship is literally manned. I've seen a couple of people detox, and some folks have gone out and take Idrises and had people working in the hangar. They've done the whole 9 yards with an org. And when you see a fully crewed ship, that's where, to me, the payoff happens, right? So when you see a ship like an Idris, and I'm just picking a random number, let's say you've got 20 people on that ship working. And this is, if you're in battle and people are repairing stuff and fixing components, if you've got a Javelin and that number jumps to, let's say, 36 people, right? Something like that, or 40. When you get to this ship, what are we talking about? And that's why when people start talking about a Bengal, in lore, a Bengal has 700 freaking people on it. So that's not a reality thing. But what are those real numbers going to be is my question, right? And so even when I look at your Kraken, I think the Kraken's a magnificent ship. But when I look at it, I'm just like, man, how many people really need to be on this sucker? You see these minimum numbers.
24 hours a day.
Nothing. Yeah, what minimum means if everything is going fine. It's when stuff doesn't go fine. What are your real numbers at that point?
Well,
so when I see a ship like this, because we don't know what that interior is like, I'm hoping Sunday we get to see. I know Fastcar's talking about a trailer and stuff. I want to see what's on these decks. I want to see what distinguishes this ship. Admiral's got some concerns about the weapons. I think that there's a bit of covertness about how weapons are put on the ship. I think the ship is going to be, if this thing shows up, I think you got problems, personally. That's what I think is going to happen about this ship. So, but we'll have to see.
So one thing I would add to that is, it's kind of interesting because just watching, I've been invited by a lot of orgs to, hey, jump on this ship, we're going to do this thing, whatever. And it's always interesting to see how these big ships are manned, essentially, right? How they are crewed, because they're not always, and there's those detox situations, like you said, where everyone sort of plays the role and kind of lives out the fantasy. But 9 times out of 10, the way I've seen these capital ships, these big, massive capital ships crewed, is more centered around like not manning every station, but manning the stations that matter for what you're doing at that moment. Right. And I've said this a lot with the Kraken when it comes to, because everyone always brings this up. They say, what are you going to do about the people landing on your deck? And I said, I'm going to do what anyone would do in the Kraken. I'm just going to start spinning. I'm just going to start spinning the ship. And the reason is if you try to land a paladin, a saber, whatever you're trying to land, I got capital shields and capital armor. I'm just going to spin the ship and destroy you, just like in the Drake spot. And I even think about that with the Odin. If the Odin's not flying into battle, like if it's not going to do station warfare, again, which is what I think these ships are primarily for in the future, station warfare. But if you're not going to do that, you're just taking your Odin on a cruise from Hurston to Microtech or whatever. I don't think you need to have a fully crewed engineering wing, because your shields are going to be so powerful, nothing's going to damage you.
They mess with you, right?
The only situation, there's only 2 situations that would arise where you would need anyone in engineering affecting repairs. One is station warfare, and the other is if another Odin shows up.
Another Odin comes up.
And even, go ahead, Fast.
You mentioned station warfare. That hadn't occurred to me. I was thinking more for Van Duel inclusion, because maybe I don't want to say a kinship, but maybe something similar to an Odin shows up in the system, and the Odin is the only countermeasure against it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, definitely Van Duel incursions, I think, could be a thing for sure in the future. So again, it's just something to think about. I mean, one of the things CIG showed us at what was it? The Citizen Con, where they showed us the space station PvP in-game stuff, was they showed us that, and they really kind of framed it this way. They talked about how, station warfare is going to be considered the end game. They even showed an image of a javelin appearing during a station warfare sort of scenario. And I think ultimately for these big capitals, if you're not dealing with a Vandal incursion, you're not doing instanced fleet battle stuff, the primary usage of these is going to be in taking down space stations, right? Because how else are you going to do that? I don't think you're going to be taking down a space station with a Paladin is where I'm going with this, or a Starlancer TAC. Yeah. You're going to have to bring the big guns out, and that's where those ships are going to truly shine. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was going to bring up something really quick here that people might like. Let me just get it queued up here. Let me grab my OBS and slide it over here out of the way for a second.
Well, while you're doing that, I have a quick question. Has anyone started the GoFundMe page to buy this ship yet?
I just wonder how many Warbond ones they're going to sell. That's something that's really interesting to me. But just talking about the scale, obviously we've talked about this ship's just absolutely ridiculous scale. I'm going to bring up, hopefully this is the right one. Yeah, I'm going to bring up this right here. This is a player character to scale at 1.8 meters tall. Here he is, our little Star Citizen player, and I'm going to zoom out.
Too scared to see what this looks like. Oh my God.
And when you get all the way out, I'm still not all the way out. Let me get out to where we can see the whole ship. Our Star Citizen player is that tiny little white dot there that has almost disappeared.
Wow.
Just to give you the idea again.
So what's the length of it? Or do you know?
It's I measured it at 750 meters long. So yeah, not quite double the length of a javelin, which is right on, what CIG was telling us, not quite double the length of a javelin, but obviously double in volume at the very least.
It's right in between the Bengal and the javelin, basically.
Yeah, right in between there. So again, that length could be wrong. We'll hear probably when CIG does the SCL, but generally, strangely enough, and I know the Odin is a hollow model that's like on location, but even when they just have the hollow models in the hollow rooms, like for IAE and Defensecon, the hollow models are still to scale when you extract them from the files. So if I extract the Kraken, it's 270 meters long. If I extract the Idris or the Javelin, they're the right length too. So when I extracted this one and measured, it was almost exactly 750 meters long. So
I've seen in chat there's two solutions because Shylock brought forth the excellent point of how long it's going to take to get from aft to stern. Citizen Joel said, finally, ground vehicle gameplay. Ryan Mac Gamer said, no, this is where the instance fast travel will be implemented. So we have two very pliable solutions on how to get around this ship.
I will say this. I think you can almost guarantee there is some sort of transit system in the ship. The Kraken has one. The Bengal has one. This is going to have some sort of internal transit system. So
the Retribution has to have one.
The Retribution has to have one. Yeah.
Yeah, but we won't have one of those. So
okay. Anything else on the Odin before we kind of go on to our very last topic and some questions?
I would like to wish everyone luck to get who wants one to get one.
Yeah. Waves are starting on Sunday at 12 p.m. noon my time, at least Eastern time. And obviously extrapolate that if you're trying to get it. I do think the first few waves are going to be very, very difficult. But yeah, good luck. Good luck. Okay, let's go into the last topic. We don't need to spend a ton of time on this one, but and we've sort of brought it up a few times here on the show already, but I wanted to get
right back,
yeah, no problem. I wanted to get both Fast and Griffin's opinion on Star Citizen approaching 1 billion in crowdfunding over the life of the project. Obviously, it's not what they have on hand. They've been spending that money for the development, but what do you think about that milestone, if we want to call it a milestone?
Good, FC.
Okay. long time coming. That's what the first thing could come to mind.
Yeah.
That I wonder how CIG will commemorate the milestone, or if they will commemorate it at all. It's. I mean that I am anticipating there's going to be a lot of articles like Kotaku and other news sites will. I don't want to say make fun or degenerate, but point out how they raised $1 billion in funds, but the game is still not out yet. But
Yeah.
And quite a few of those articles won't make mention of how much progress they made over the past few years, especially like the most recently. Obviously, we're closer to 1.0 than we ever been. That's the obvious statement to make, but it is true. I mean, I don't know when 1.0 will happen, but it seems closer to me now than it ever has been, and I can almost see the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to 1.0. But as far as this milestone goes, it'll be interesting to see how CID will commemorate it if they do at all.
Griff, your thoughts?
Yeah, excuse me. CIG has not been commemorating stuff for a while now. I think that it was a kind of a pro and a con, a bittersweet thing. Obviously, in the beginning, there were milestones, and even CIG said that they didn't expect the type of money to come in the way it did. Yeah. But it also brought negative PR to them. So I'm not sure that celebrating $1 billion is a wise thing. And the reason is, there's another reason. Basically, CIG needs to keep making money every year. If this game is going to continue, irregardless of Squadron 42, if this game is going to continue, it's going to continue to raise money. And I don't think we need to break out fireworks every time we reach some new 000 number, because it's a part of the DNA of what's happening. You know what I mean? It's a part of what this process is of bringing in revenue. If that number stops, we got to start worrying. So I mean, if they hit it, that's great. My projection was that we probably wouldn't hit it until almost July or June, rather, when Alien Week came around. I wasn't so sure we were going to hit it during Invictus, and we're at 991 now. We may hit it, but I kind of figured maybe by June, July, that probably
I'm
we
thinking
might hit
more
that
July.
mark. But irregardless of that, I'm beyond the whole thing of trying to explain the process of why CIG has $1 billion. I don't want to talk about the fact that they're making 2 games. I don't want to talk about they've got to build studios. They started from scratch. Particularly to the folks who've been around a long time, the Kotakus and all these other folks, they've decided to ignore the real journalism side of what it takes to build a company and do this. And just as much as they criticize, they also don't recognize. And I think that's my issue.
Yeah, well, they know
if there
better,
was recognition,
right?
But I'm saying if they
this
recognized and criticized, that'd be great, right? But whenever these things come out, they're hit pieces.
Yeah.
I do appreciate journalism where people are able to express both the successes and the missteps of a company, and all companies have that. But we have companies that have been established for years and years and years and years, who make some really big faux pas, and they catch barely half of what CIG has caught over the years. So at this point, I'm just going with the flow. As long as I see progress, I feel like the community is their needs are being met. We're seeing things like that it's moving forward, and we can literally feel that our money is not being wasted. Then I'm fine with it. 1 billion, 2 billion. Jesus Christ, what GTA spending $2 billion at least minimum on their thing. Nobody's talking about that. So, and that's an established company that's been around for a long time, right? So it is what it is.
I mean, I agree. I agree with all those points. I think that's very important. And ultimately, when you all this sort of becomes moot to me when they give that Squadron release date. You know what I mean? In some way, and I apply that to the Odin and its crazy price tag and the crazy articles that are come from it. I guarantee you we're going to get an article or two on the big giant JPEG being sold, that whole thing. And all this kind of goes away when CIG gives us that release date, because what
Agreed.
that then shows is, hey, we're releasing product for that money that's been raised. So again, hopefully CIG, I mean, I don't think that it worries them. I think they just stay the course, focus on getting Squadron out the door, and that's the best thing they can do, not only for the game, but for the perception of the game, which I think is critically important to the wider gaming market, and for us, is just stay the course and get Squadron 42 done. And that does seem to be what they've been trying to do.
And real quick, you mentioned the JPEG. They can at least update and say PNG. I mean, this is 2026.
That's true. That's true. All right, we're going to get to some questions. We don't have a lot. We just have a few. We're just going to answer a few tonight, everyone, due to time. Art, if we have a poll, do we have one to announce or one to start?
Already kicked it off.
Okay, he's already kicked it off. Poll going, everyone. Get in on that. We're going to rapid fire some questions here. Fast, Griff, Art, feel free to jump in on any of these that you wish. If you don't have an opinion, you don't have to chime in, but we'll just kind of go through these. We got about 5 questions to answer here, maybe 6. First one, Genatonic says, why did the new flight suits have unsealed helmets, and does that bug anyone else as much as it bugs me? Talking about the tailwind flight suits. I haven't actually looked at them that carefully. I am going to look at that part now.
Yeah, they're not the only ones. I've been asking this question for a while. We have other helmets that are only partial facial helmets, and been trying to figure out what is the application pro and con of those different helmets in the game. So even though this is just another set of them, CIG has not made it clear. Some of the scouting helmets, there's some other ones there, and it's like, okay, what's the benefit? Because people by default will throw on a helmet that covers their entire face unless there's some reason to use the other ones. So
I mean, look at the one that they did for Citizencon last year with the Paladin. That armor that they showed, and it's got a mic up to the face, but it's just the eyewear, no face mask whatsoever. But I can wear that in vacuum.
Right.
Real quick,
Wow.
You beat me to it. I was going to say, remember the Squadron 42 presentation? The player character was wearing a open face helmet, but it covered up somewhat when he went to the vacuum, and he survived. So maybe it's something like that.
Well, we got some NPCs walking around on some moons where there's no oxygen without helmets on either, for that matter. So go figure, right?
And there is some consideration for it because, you can't drink and eat food with your helmet on. So it's like they do have some consideration for the face coverings. But your T, hopefully I said that right, your T, says, question, given ships with hangars have hangar services, how relevant will the Crucible be? I'll jump in on that one. I mean, I think it's going to be very relevant because I think the Crucible is still the only ship that is capable of repairing capital ships. So, I mean, I think it's going to have the repair, rearm, refuel services that a lot of these other ships have. It'll have that. It may have it on a slightly bigger scale. We'll have to wait and see, but it's going to have that. But it's still the only ship, listed as being able to do capital ship repair. Okay. So that's still a big, check in its features box. So,
not to be funny, there will be people like me who will be in a single fighter ship, and something will happen or get partially destroyed, but they still win the battle. But they have no way of getting to a hangar service in order to make those repairs. So that's when the Crucible will come in handy.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, we'll just have to see what the Crucible brings to the game because it's still in concept and it will be reconcepted. And when it goes through that reconcepting phase, it's very likely to get plussed up quite a bit. Someone mentioned it down there, and I agree. It would not shock me if it gets a fabrication element in its Scarab. So, Carl, thank you for the stretch. Okay. Gin and Tonic says, question. Considering the negative press this game has always had, unearned, he says, what would be the upside of celebrating or even recognizing 1 billion raised? I think they could do anything. I think it got cut off. I would just say that if we're looking at, what upside there could be, I think it's sometimes all about the language you use. I think saying, hey, we've raised $1 billion is wrong. I think doing something that's more, hey, we're celebrating the incredible, support we've had over the years. And because of that, all current subscribers are getting this free gun or this free armor set or whatever. You're not really mentioning the dollar amount there. You're just really saying, hey, there's been a lot of support over the years for this game. We appreciate it. Here's a little reward for you backers. You know what I mean? You don't really focus on the dollar amount. You focus on the support. I think that's like the one positive they could sort of spend this. How much upside there is to that, I don't know, other than you make the existing player base feel pretty good. So
you make an interesting point. It'd be cool if CIG could point out the community or some content creators and some backers and like especially like pictures of bar citizens and stuff like that over the years from 2013 on to the present. So maybe they could do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways they could start recognizing people. I mean, they do some of that a little bit. I know when they put out, I forget what they call it, but it's like the thank yous to all the Evo testers, you know what I mean? Or the testers that do the most testing in reports. I think that's really cool. I think they do call outs for, I think the Founders, was it the Founders Edition program? Or what? Or not Founders Edition. It's I forget. It's the one where you help other players. Like that is kind of an interesting...
the guide system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's sort of an interesting, like, pat on the back for those that are doing the work and stuff. So they got little things like that. I would like to see that expanded. I agree. But yeah. Karsten says, are you missing the concept ships yet? I assume you mean are missing the idea of no new concepts. And I can jump in on that one too. I would say that I've been pretty vocal in the fact that while I don't think 10-year concepts are good, I did like when we would get a concept ship announcement and it would be like, hey, this is coming out next year or something like that, like a short concept period. I kind of like that. I thought it gave us a little bit of time to voice our opinion on the ship. Maybe they would make some changes based off that. They could take feedback based off that. Again, so I miss it a little bit. I don't know what you all feel. Do you like the no more concepts thing, or do you miss it?
I'm missing the Ranger. I'm missing the BMM. I'm missing the Endeavor. Thing with the railing is coming soon, so that's a plus. But I'm missing three concept ships.
Yeah, there's still a lot of concepts.
That's how to read the question. No, I'm not missing concept ships yet.
I'm missing. I had hoped that concepts would remain as a way of funding in the future.
Yeah.
So there would be a one-time thing, it's just like how like you said, maybe they know that it's going to be out within a year, not this 3-year, 5-year, 7-year thing.
Yeah.
But it's already in production. They're moving forward on it. They're dedicated to getting it out. And they say, if you decide to buy now, here's your price. After that, if you don't get it there, then later on it becomes a either only in-game thing or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of an incentive to me for people who still wanted to be able to put money into the game financially.
Yeah.
And they would still get the ship when everybody else did, but they'd get it right off the bat with all the benefits of, being able to pay money for it like we get now. But, I'm the fact that now ships drop. I mean, look at what they've been doing recently with the way they've dropping ships. People are happy. Nobody's saying, oh, we missed this. People are happy now. Ships drop. Other than when they complain about my ship from 8 years ago hasn't been dropped like Fastguard did. But other than that, it's fine with folks.
Well, I think counter to that point is, while I agree with you that yes, the concepts, it was a great way to kind of gauge and how things were coming out. It also built up a lot of a backlog, and there was a lot of, hey, we're going to bring you this, and then what happened is, oh, shiny over here, I know you guys have pledged for this, hoping to get this soon, and oh yeah, okay, well, sorry, because of this shiny over here now we're going to do this. Oh yeah, by the way, we're adding a concept over here for the shiny.
Yeah, that's a good point.
To your point, and what I do agree with you on the concept is it was a dedicated pipeline. We saw how ships were moving through it, and there was time to test it. And I think the one thing, while yes, some of these ships have came out with like the Hull B and stuff like that, and they've not been terrible. The recent ones, the Moth, the Ironclad have been terrible, absolutely awful. The lack of testing, the lack of preparation on them. There's stuff that's broken that it's just like, did you guys even try this? I mean, the fact that you got into the Moth and there wasn't an environment there, and it's like, how did you not try this? Did you not sit in the seat to see? Did you not check? While the concepts were, it was great for building up hype. It was great for this. I think it also helped them kind of gauge the community on how they felt about each piece in particular, and kind of help steer more ships into that. And I think now they're just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. We've seen a lot of hauling ships this year, and it's kind of like, great, cool. Recently we've got a couple new combat ships, which is nice, but it's where's our hacking ships? Where's our crafting ship? Why isn't that ready? And it seems like we're focusing on certain things. I mean, we're doing all the stuff with crafting. Why isn't our refinery ships in? Why are we adding another hauling ship? Why didn't we just add a refinery ship and just complete the cycle?
One thing I'm hoping that when Squadron 42 comes out this year, they'll be able to divert more of the resources from Squadron 42 into Star Citizen, and hopefully stuff like the Ironclad and other ships that you mentioned will be a thing of the past, but that's a hope. We'll have to see.
You bring up a good point, though. I would imagine if Squadron is nearing release, then it's heavily in the hands of QA right now, and that may be dominating their focus. And so that makes a lot of sense. Kiru says, question, StarJump Grim, could it be that the closed, referring to the Odin, by the way, could it be that the closed parts on the sides of the ship could be two more big guns? The shape of the openings look like openings for the big cannons on top. Yes, there's the hollow model is missing a lot. I can confirm that to you. It's very clear when I was digging into it. It's actually missing whole pieces. When I did the model for Fleet Viewer, I had to actually add those pieces back in. Some of them, not all of them. So I'm still really excited to see the SCL because I can tell the hollow model's missing a lot of stuff. So we'll see what is there on the ship that we don't know about yet. Hollow models are always pared down on geometry, by the way. Even other hollow models that are in the client files.
Can you imagine all the polygons that ship gonna take up when it's actually in game?
We heard it in the PU monthly report regarding the Kraken on how they're putting a lot of focus on the optimization of the ship already at this stage, because again, they know how complex some of these ships are getting, especially now that things are getting more and more detailed, that fidelity going up. So I think that's going to be a big, and I think that's probably happening with the Javelin as well. There's a look at optimization. So.
I think all of us were around when the Starfare would be called, and it was crash the server because the server couldn't handle it back then. I hope that will be a repeat or something like that for the Odin, but hopefully we have to see, right?
Our last question for the night is from Algrid. Algrid says, have CIG combined the $4.5 million stretch goal, which will be another playable ship class called the Cruiser, and have they combined that with the $17 million stretch goal, which is the battlecruiser, aka the Odin? Do we think they've combined those, or do we think that the $4.5 million stretch goal Cruiser is still a separate ship yet to come?
I think the 4 point. I thought the Cruiser might have been like the Javelin, or maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the Javelin's a destroyer, I think, officially. So
yeah. I think that CGIG is just going to produce it later. That's all. Anything that's on there. I mean, there's so much stuff they've got on there. They've got pets and a whole bunch of other stuff on there they haven't put out. And if it's an opportunity for CIG to make money and there's a cruiser, they'll do it, So I think you were talking about earlier the projection.
But it won't be a concept.
No, I didn't say a concept. I said they're going to produce it. Right. So you said before about how many ships. I think I remember back in the day they talked about there's over 200 and something ships in this game, supposedly somewhere between 220 and 250 ships total.
That's a lot.
So there's room and latitude. I mean, you've got alien ships, you've got all types of other ships that we haven't seen, not just from Squadron, but just other stuff that they have in design. So to put a cruiser in, if it's going to bring them some revenue, why not? Right. I'm just blown away at the scale of this stuff. I mean, I'm like Fast Card. I remember when the Starfarer came in and somebody spawned a Starfarer on Port Olisar and it blew the whole freaking server up. Now you've got multiple of these ships out there now and you don't even know it, so it's, the tech is, if you weren't around back then, you don't get it, but
yeah, I mean, in this image here, you can see the Odin's scale next to the Javelin.
Oh my God, I just noticed that.
Yeah, and then you can go up from there in regards to the Bengal. And so, yeah, I mean, it's the scale of these ships. Crazy. And it's going to come down to optimization, like really creative viz areas and all that kind of stuff. So,
wait, real quick, is Retribution on that?
Retribution is not on there. No, I didn't put that one because then it would have made all the other ships really tiny.
Okay.
Just looking at this, however, I'm gonna need a new poster for my.
I'd love that. I'd love that.
Yeah, me too.
I'd love that. Yeah.
I can get you guys. I can get you guys set up with this poster for sure.
That's
cool.
Okay, Art. What's our poll's results? Do we have some results from that poll?
We do. So Twitch kind of felt like more building.
Mm-hmm.
Some Squadron was there, but building and Squadron were kind of neck and neck. Building kind of won out on that one. YouTube on the other side, they're big on the Squadron, but building was a close second. So it was kind of interesting that for once they're mirrored pretty closely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. There you go. Art was on it with the polls today, everyone. Give him a little shout.
Got new tools to play with. We've been trying to figure out how I can do more fun things.
I gave Art a little bit more power on the YouTube.
And he was like, I'm going to give you this and we'll see what happens. And I did it. And
let's review that quote. Art was on a poll this evening. I mean, okay. I give you that. Nice poll work.
Are you offering me dollar bills, Fast Card?
Yeah. Okay, everyone.
Sure.
We're kind of reaching the end here, but before we close out the show, I did want to spotlight our two guests here, Fast Cart and Griff. Can you, obviously Soul Citizen's been around for quite a while at this point. Can you guys tell us a little bit about what Soul Citizens is? And well, I got another question for you. I'm going to ask it after you give the brief on the Soul Citizen scope. Can you tell us a little bit about your group and how it started and all that kind of good stuff?
Oh boy, quick synopsis. Soul Citizen started in March of 2020, right at the kickoff of COVID. Right as soon as COVID kicked off, we started. And we started out as a small team of, I think, about maybe 4. Mm-hmm. And over the years, we've grown to having a team of up to, I think, at 1.16 folks on our team, a group of diverse folks from all over the place. I think everybody in our group has always been from North America. I don't think we've ever had anybody from Europe or anything like that. But we've been around for quite a while now. And our goal has been, over the years, we've done various shows. Our Sunday show, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, is our main show where we have several different members of our team that come on board, and we talk about everything from current things going on in the game to lore to development. We try to be a show that allows people who may not be familiar with Star Citizen to be able to learn about it. And we try to be informative as much as we can to help people have a better understanding of the development and what the goal and the vision of Chris Roberts is for this game. And then, of course, to express the voices of the Star Citizen community. We've had a couple other shows that we've done. Fast Card did a show that came on Thursday nights, which was Soul Talk. And he had a panel, like a roundtable conversation where community folks could come in. They could talk about what's going on that week. And then on Saturdays, I was doing a one-on-one where people could come in, talk about various topics that I would pick. But now we split our show into 2 parts now. Our first half for the first hour is kind of what we call Star Citizen This Week, where we talk about all the stuff that's going on, because every week there's always something going on with Star Citizen. And then the second half of our show is usually based on a topic. And just like you, this weekend, we'll be talking about Defensecon. Nice. So that's basically it.
And I'll shout it out. Your group was really one of the primary content creator platforms for machinima and like long form content that people create using the game as a tool, which I always thought was really cool and something that you all did that a lot of other content creators and streamers and stuff didn't focus on. I always thought that was like a really cool thing that you did. Again, highlighting, and you don't see this a lot in content creation, but highlighting the work that other people do in such a great way. So I thought that was really cool.
Well, I'll say this real quick. I think that is one of the reasons why I think we supported you with what you guys were doing here at STARJUMP.
Originally with the cinematics,
Well, I mean, just quite often there are people who are putting in a lot of work. I mean, like real work to do stuff. Before we had all these fancy things that we have now, there were content creators that, they were using CryEngine and making these incredible long form 20-minute, 30-minute, some machinima. And a lot of people had never seen them. And so some of those people actually went on to go work at CIG. But we've seen people that have done 3-minute pieces, 30-minute pieces. And so we really felt that we enjoyed watching them, but we also look at the numbers and say only 50 people have seen this, only 75 people have seen this. Right. So we took it as an opportunity to be able to put that out there and tell people about it so people could see. And then again, I still remember when you put your Drake and Aegis commercial, to this day, I still think about those videos. And I think the reason why is because those long-form machinima and those pieces that you did brought a bit of reality to our community. They were no longer JPEGs. They were animations. They brought these pictures to life for us and kind of gave us some inspiration as to what it was we were doing, why we were here, what we were supporting, and it gave us to dream a little bit more. So let me say that again to you guys, which I've always said to you guys at STARJUMP, for the work that you guys have done. You guys have done this stuff for free, made so much available to the community, and we want to say thank you. After all these years, you guys are still churning it out, and we really appreciate that.
Well, and with the cinematics and then later on with Fleet Viewer, I mean, that was sort of the goal, is to give the people that originally just started out with this very simple thing. It was like, oh, people own these ships. This is back when a lot of more ships were concept still, but people own these. How do you sort of live that fantasy out without it being in the game? You know what I mean? It was kind of like to help that. But no, it's a great community. You all were very early supporters of STARJUMP and especially my cinematics there in the beginning. I always appreciated that. So I think there's a Soul Citizen ship in Fleet Viewer, by the way, for those that don't know.
Yes, that's right.
If you don't know how to get to that stuff,
maybe you have to make a background for that too.
If you don't know how to get to that stuff, by the way, because there's still a lot of people that don't know how to get to the what do you call it? The Easter egg ships, as we call them internally. But if you go to add a ship,
that's a check mark.
Unofficial.
There's a little button up here. It's cut off because the screen for OBS doesn't catch it all. But if you uncheck that official only, you can type in, and there's a Soul Citizen Starliner right here. There we go.
I actually have the backdrop for it. It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I like it. It's a cool color scheme. I hope they go with something like that.
Yeah, we love that.
But yeah, no, we really appreciate it. That's going to about wrap it up tonight, everyone. I do have kind of a hard out that I gotta respect, but I do appreciate the Soul Citizens coming on tonight. Thank you guys so much. I've been wanting to have you on for so long. It's now that I got a producer, though, I can get my schedule in.
You've got a great producer too. He's on point.
He's on point.
I was going to say, are you looking for a new job?
Yeah, really got to hire this guy. How much is he paying you? How much is he paying you?
He's going to get paid.
If you give me a ship or a paint or a hat or I'm in. I'm getting nothing right now.
You asked for dollar bills for working in Pole earlier.
That's true. That's true. I'll take the dollar. I'll take the dollar and take the job. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's amazing. He helps keep me on track with this stuff. But we do have the St. Jude raffles. Everyone, do not forget. Thank you for your donations tonight. Been absolutely incredible for the month of April and May of this year. So far, we have raised $55,164 for St. Jude sick kids and their families battling cancer. Really do appreciate that. Special thanks to GearCon, who is supporting this this Play Live push with St. Jude through the ships he's offered for raffle prizes. On May 27th, next Wednesday, for a $35 donation, we'll be raffling off an Ironclad Assault. And then on the 31st, We have 3 raffles that will be drawn for, because that'll be our last night of Play Live coverage. We have an Ironclad dual pack. It's a $75 donation. We'll get you a ticket to that. We have a Polaris, which is a $60 donation. We'll get you a ticket to that one. And by the way, remember the odds on these are pretty darn good. Like the Polaris, you have like a 1 in 20 chance of winning. It's not a lot of tickets are purchased. The Masters of Industry is a $100 donation towards St. Jude via our Tiltify link. Again, that money goes straight to St. Jude. We do not have access to it. We don't touch it. We don't have any way to access it, so you can donate in confidence. But that $100 donation with that, getting you that ticket to the Master of Industry pack, if you win, we'll grant you a Pioneer, an Arastra, a Hull B, a Golem, a Vulture, a Mole, a Reclaimer, and a Hercules, because we're crazy up in here. And yeah, good luck. Good luck. Yes.
All I should say is you should start advertising. You have a better chance of winning those ships than you do the Odin.
You probably do.
You just start saying that.
You probably do, and you probably have like even with our most popular raffle, which is probably the Master of Industry. Again, there's been like 160 tickets purchased. So you still have pretty good odds compared to like my CIG giveaways where there's like 2,000 tickets purchased. So, or 2,000 entries entered. So it's really good odds. It's for a great cause and you can donate in confidence. So thank you, everyone. Do appreciate that. Last but not least, Fast Griff, thank you very much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. Let me know whenever you need me to repay the favor, obviously. Not the
last.
No, definitely won't be the last. Definitely won't be the last. All right. Go ahead.
Your next show.
Oh yes, next show. We're doing a show on Sunday. We're going to cover the Odin. Obviously, we're going to get through all that news. It's going to be a very Odin focused show on Sunday. So if you have an interest in that ship, we'll have the SCL to go off of. We'll probably just watch it on stream even and react to it. But it's going to be all Odin all the time on Sunday. So thank you very much. All right, everybody. On the Twitch side, I got the raid lined up. Do appreciate you all hanging out with us tonight. YouTube, you as well. Both communities kicking ass, showing up lately. Do really appreciate it. We're going to be raiding Active because he's currently got drops enabled and doing some gameplay. You might enjoy it. He's an awesome dude, super nice guy, and very Star Citizen excited. I really like his energy. Like whenever he talks about anything, he is very excited.
He's fired up.
I love it. And I think he's kind of new to Star Citizen, so that excitement's just firing on all cylinders. And he's also just a really nice person. I've had some talks with him. Really great. So I'm going to send you over there. Everyone, have a great rest of your night. I am going to go tend to my daughter. But hopefully you have a great weekend. Enjoy it. It's a long weekend for a lot of you. So, all right, Twitch, sending you off now. Have a good one. Give Active some love. Hit that follow button. See you later. And YouTube, you as well. We haven't forgotten you. YouTube, love you. Thanks for bringing those subscriber numbers up. You're awesome. Talk to you later. Have a good night, everyone.